Noble ones. Noble ones, do we live in reality? What is real? What is reality, noble ones? And most importantly, the deepest question of all, are you all Muppets? Hello, noble ones. All right, good with the music. What a music. What a song. Goodness gracious. That was great. Thank you very much for being here, noble ones, you Muppets. It is a pleasure to have you here today for this legendary stream. And I hope we're going to have a good time. We've got a lot of things to say. I've done, of course, some preparation for it. And hopefully we're going to have a good time today. So, first and foremost, how is my voice? How is the volume? How's the volume? Kermit says hi. How is the volume, guys? Welcome, welcome to the Metatron's channel. Let me see how we're doing with numbers before I actually begin the presentation. Yeah, numbers are going up. It's always good to see. So I'm going to open, of course, as you've noticed lately, I've been kind of reviewing other creators during these live streams, which I think is a good way to have an interesting topic that then leads onto a sub-variety. In fact, a veritable cornucopia of extra topics and relating topics. And we always do that in a matter that is respectful, of course, because you know me. With that being said, I think today I chose a very, very interesting character when it comes to content creators. Alex O'Connor. I want to show you what I think. I want to tell you a little bit about my opinions of him, his content, his positions, his ideas, 4 completely distinct aspects already. But most importantly, today we are actually going to talk a little bit and actually review his latest video. And because I think it can be fascinating to establish a core fundamental topic that I would like to debate and discuss with you in chat after we finish watching his presentation and I kind of provide my commentary. First and foremost, however, how are you doing? It is good to have you here, noble ones. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I'm a little late, but I mean, what did you expect? I mean, it's in my genes, guys. I'm a Southern Italian. What the heck did you expect? Good to have you here, noble ones. Let's have a look. Sounds fine. Sounds fine. Good stuff. Good stuff. Rusty says pink is my favorite color. Nice. Ooh, we've got history with Hilbert today. Did the noble ones becomes Muppets? Oh gosh, the Muppet thing happened a very long time ago. In fact, I want to say that the Muppet situation has been around since, I don't know, I had like a very, very small amount of subscribers. But I do want to thank you for being here, History with Hilbert. I always appreciate having other creators here, and I always enjoy showing 550 videos. You've got a lot of stuff on history, so thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you among the people in the comments. Thank you very much. And with that being said, let's return to the topic at hand. All right, people say Muppets. Let's see. Good evening, fellow frog supremacists. Hello, noble ones. I'm reading chat now very quickly to see if you've got some initial opinions. I see the people have very, very contrasting ideas when it comes to Alex. Some people love him, some people hate him. I'll tell you what I think in a minute. I'm just waiting for more people to arrive so that we can begin and I don't have to reiterate the same stuff 15 times. I mean, at the end of the day, I can still do it. But yeah, let me show you the video that we're going to react to as part of this stream. Although then again, in the later part of the stream today, we will also finish reacting to the Jubilee event with Jordan Peterson versus 20 Atheists. As you know, I have already done part of that reaction and commentary, but I will finish it today. So today we've got quite a few videos to watch, in fact. Now, the video in question that we're going to review today, just so you see, is this one. So Alex O'Connor has posted this video 1 day ago, and it's titled "Run Over or Double It and Give It to the Next Person." This is, of course, about paradoxes, logical paradoxes, and the most moral choice given really what could be considered almost an impossible situation. What would you do? What would you do? So that's what we are discussing today. I think it's a very well put together video. But really the core of what we are discussing today is the following. First of all, this is the music that we were just listening to at the beginning. Warhammer Dark Omen, PlayStation 1, fantastic game, thank you very much. Now I can close this because we don't need the music anymore. Let me show you, first and foremost, for the few of you that I noticed in chat that don't know who Alex O'Connor is. It's like Alex O'Connor is a very famous, popular content creator. He used to go by the name Cosmic Skeptic, but this is a name that he created very early on in his career when he was also very young. So he doesn't really go by this anymore. It's just part of his, it's just in here, but he doesn't really go by it. He just goes by his name, Alex O'Connor. He has 524 videos, almost 1.5 million subscribers. And as he describes himself, he says, "Hi, I'm Alex O'Connor. I host the Within Reason podcast featuring guests including Richard Dawkins, Rainn Wilson, Sam Harris, and Neil deGrasse Tyson." And he, of course, has a presence in all sorts of social media platforms. Now, one thing that I want to say before I open a Photoshop thing that I prepared just to show you exactly where me and Alex O'Connor stand, I want to say this. Alex O'Connor is famous for debating, not only having conversations with all sorts of thinkers, but also specifically for debating Christians and Christianity. I want to say this. To introduce Alex O'Connor, to those of you who don't know anything about him, I would describe Alex O'Connor as a very intelligent, very articulate, and quite fair content creator. I like him very much. Me and him are on opposite positions, since he's an atheist and I'm a Christian. I do not believe that he's well described as you are describing him. Sham, I disagree. I like Alex O'Connor very much. I disagree at a fundamental level with his positions and ideas, which is the reason why I'm making this video today. Because here's the thing, and I want to show you this little Photoshop section. I want to show you this Photoshop section very much. Because the video that we're going to discuss together, this one here, is really based on these paradoxes. And they are really a situation where your ability to make a choice in an impossible situation kind of defines your morality or your approach to morality. Now, having established that Alex and I come from two completely opposite foundations for our morality, me being a Christian, I think morality comes from God. Him being an atheist, I don't want to put words in his mouth. It would be great if he could define it. I didn't have much time to find a specific definition. But I think we can all agree, and it's safe to say, without risking to strawmanning the man, that he believes that morality is fundamentally a man-made construct born within the mind of human beings. Now, whether or not he considers that as a natural, we could even say organic happening that just within, I don't know, maybe some beneficial evolutionary trait. I don't know how he describes it, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think we can be safe and say that he believes that morality is born within us, whereas my position is that morality comes directly from God. And what's interesting, and of course I respect you guys, whatever idea you have, but what I think is interesting in this scenario is considering the fact that we find the roots of our personal morality in completely opposite positions, what happens if we both watch an impossible situation? Would we come to the same conclusions, even though we base our morality on two completely things? In other words, is there a tether between the morality that a religious person has or the morality that a non-religious person has? Or are we going to experience a fundamentally different and, in fact, even maybe opposite decision when it comes to a choice like this? I think that would be a very interesting thing. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me read the chat and then I'll continue the presentation. Let's see what they say. Let me see. Yes, Ray, you say, I would argue his position is that morality is evolutionary to promote social cohesion. That's what I would imagine as well. But as I say, since I didn't hear him specifically say where morality comes from, I just don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't want to I don't want to straw man the man. So, well, all we need really for this discussion is that obviously he doesn't think the morality comes from God because he doesn't believe that there is a God in the first place. And so I think I can safely assume that. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, I agree, Average. You say he's a lot of things, but he's not dishonest. No, I don't think he's dishonest. As I say, I like him very much. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I read quite a few of your comments also on Twitch. Hello, Legetu. So good to have you here. Thank you for being here, by the way. Yeah. I see someone complaining about the volume of my voice. Please let me know. If I look at it as usual, I think it might be a problem on your end, because here it tells me usually when I speak normally, I'm around middle section green. So maybe I'm a little bit on the lower end, but then again, I'm maxed out at the moment here. Actually, you just reminded me that I need to increase this to make sure we can hear him. But do let me know if you think that we need to increase a little bit the gain on the microphone. I do want to make sure, though, that I don't clip it. I don't want to get into yellow-orange range, if you know what I mean. At that end, I would rather you increase a little bit the volume on your end, if possible. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me show you very quickly. Okay, so we got a super chat. Want to acknowledge those. Thank you, Pax. Alex lost on morality when he debated Frank Turek. I'll watch that debate. I haven't seen it, but still, kind of a little bit irrelevant whether sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. I guess this happens to every debater. I do think he's a skilled debater, though. So there's that. Would love to hear your apologetics. Maybe at one point, Pax. Why not? Good. All right. So, one moment, please. Just want to check how we're doing with numbers. Numbers looking good. Numbers looking good. All right. So, at this point, I want to show you the Photoshop before we actually dive into this and we start listening to the man and see how we would react to these paradoxes that he is going to present to us. But first, we've got this. All right. So, just so we're clear where we're at. If we were to create a diagram like the one that I presented here and say for a moment that on this side of the spectrum we've got atheism, and on the other side of the spectrum for this discussion we've got Christianity. I hope I didn't misspell anything. I don't think I did. And let's imagine for a second that we have someone who is indecisive. Okay? So we've got someone in the middle. This could be you. Maybe it could be one of you. In fact, let me know. What would this person be? He's not an atheist. He's not a Christian. He doesn't know. He hasn't made up his mind necessarily. This is what this line represents here. What does this line mean? Well, this line would represent instead, in this specific situation, in this spectrum, this line represents not only where you stand when it comes to are you a Christian or are you an atheist, but it could also represent, depending how further to the polar end we go, how tolerant or intolerant you are, aka how combative you are with the opposite side. Okay? So, let's imagine for a second, for the sake of argument, here we've got, imagine some kind, I couldn't think of someone famous, so just put someone here. On the very end, this man is a Christian, but he's one of those Christians that is extremely, I would say, angry. He says that you cannot be moral if you're not a Christian. He says that all atheist people are evil. I understand it's a very small minority, but they exist. Just for sake of argument, let's just imagine someone, if you can think, if you've ever seen or encountered someone that maybe you're sharing an opinion, and that opinion is either an atheist opinion or it's an opinion based on a form of Christianity that is different to this man. So you're still Christian, but a different denomination. And then this man, maybe it has happened to you, it comes and writes in the comments and tells you, you'll burn in hell, ha 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 ha, your mother, blah, blah. That kind of Christian, I will put him right here. He hates everyone on the other side here. Next item of discussion would be the likes of Richard Dawkins. He describes himself he describes himself as a militant atheist. So, the type of atheist that absolutely despises Christianity, Christian doctrine, religion in general, we could say, but although he does appreciate the art and cultural manifestations that come through religion, he does say that, but he has said that he thinks that the Bible or the idea of Christ sacrificing to him is abhorrent. He has said that. Okay, so I think it's fine to put him here because he's an atheist, and also he is a militant atheist. Now, let's place me and Alex. So I would put Alex here, and I would put myself here. What does this mean? Well, Alex O'Connor is, by his own definition, a non-combative atheist. So, differently from any person that you want to put here, he doesn't seem to be interested in insulting people. He is an atheist. He absolutely goes here. Maybe there are on some aspects, like for instance, life after death, I believe he said he's agnostic, but in general, I would put him here in the atheism section. But he's definitely someone who doesn't appear to hate Christians and is very happy to sit down and have a conversation with a Christian. Likewise, and this is the bottom line of this discussion, the reason why I've chosen him over him in this scenario is because I am exactly his polar opposite. Exactly his polar opposite. So I am a non-combative Christian. I am a Christian who is willing to sit down and discuss with an atheist over a coffee, talk about differences. I don't hate atheists. I'm not going to start an attack you, scream at you or anything like that. That's me. Now, what I want to underline is that by placing myself here, this has only to do, the horizontal line, okay, we're not even using the vertical now, but the horizontal line is not a representation of conviction, because if this was a representation of conviction, I would have put myself at the very end here, because I am 1000% convinced that there is a God and 1000% convinced that Christ is King and Lord. This is not a position that I'm putting. So I'm just to be sure that I'm not like, yeah, maybe there is absolute. That's not me. I will be at the end. But this line here only represents your attitude towards the other side, just to make sure that we know where we stand. So I am in the exact opposite position as him. I wouldn't be in the exact opposite position to a Richard Dawkins, and obviously to this guy, for obvious reasons that I think I explained. Any questions about this? If not, I'm going to actually start watching the video. But that's why I think this would be a good situation. We are on polar opposites, on the kind of moderate scenario when it comes to the debate between atheism and Christianity as worldviews. And that's why I want to see if we come to different conclusions when presented with impossible odds from a moral perspective. I disagree, B-Dog, but today is not really about me. I have already a video where I discuss, because B-Dog is asking, for being an intellectual is crazy, the Metatron can be a believer. I disagree. There is overwhelming evidence. In fact, the majority, the very beginning of science, education, and academia, they were all Christians. So there is that. And the founders of Oxford University were Christians, and yet they were still thinkers, logical thinkers, and they were scientists, the beginning of science. So I don't think that's kind of a false equivalence. It's true, though, that today, in our day and age, I will concede that, the majority of scientists tend to be either atheists or agnostics. You still have Christian scientists, but they will be the minority. Yet, I don't think the two things, being logical and being a believer, are mutually exclusive. You also say there is overwhelming evidence that all religions are just mythology. Too, I disagree, of course, with that. And I want to say, since that I am not the item of discussion of this conversation, I don't want to make it about me, I'll just refer you to the video that I posted a while ago called Do I Have Faith? It's on my channel, and you'll find why. Even though I'm a very evidence-oriented individual, and I believe in science and academia, logics and reason, I am a 1000 convinced Christian. So there is that. But thank you for sharing your opinion. I appreciate that. Am I a creationist? Absolutely 100%. But I'm an old earth creationist. Amumin. Yes. So let's see what we've got. Maybe I think everything is clear. Yeah, well, Mr. Dawkins is a biologist too. A good one. Absolutely, Simon. Totally. Mr. Dawkins is indeed an evolutionary biologist, if I'm not wrong. Buonasera, Daniele Fabrio. And also we've got a super chat. Thank you very much, Miguel Carra. Alex is okay, but Dylan Hunty is the greatest. I actually prefer listening to Alex over... I don't know how to pronounce his surname, I apologize. But yeah, I'm aware of him as well. Very logical thinker. I just prefer Alex. It's just a personal preference of mine. What can I say? Let's see. No, I read both. Blank is just, there's a lot of, there is more, I read both Twitch and YouTube, but there is a little bit more going on the YouTube side, so I kind of switch proportionately. And what were you asking, Metatron Gemini? What Bronze Age cultures do you think took part of being the sea people? Ooh, that's a fantastic question, but it would take too much away from the stream and it's too off topic. So I'll probably refer to a possibly dedicated video. We've been discussing it with the team because the sea people is a very interesting topic. Thank you for your patience. Let's see. And then we have a super chat by Miguel again. Atheism, it's not, I think you meant a worldview. I think it is. So we'll have to disagree on that. It is a way to, it is a perspective from which to see reality, at least for me. That's what I think. Cool. And I believe I didn't skip anyone's. I'm just checking to see. I didn't skip anyone. No, I didn't. Okay, good, good. Cool. All right, let me check. Okay, and then Pax says, Dylan Hunty is pure dishonesty. I don't think I agree with that, but then again, today I didn't prepare a presentation on Mr. I really don't know how to pronounce it. Dylan, I'll just say Dilla. Mr. Dilla, so I won't really comment on that. And atheism is not to be sure there is a God. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like the way you wrote it is a little confusing. I think I would describe atheism as not believing that there is a God based on the evidence that you've been given. I would describe that. Dilahanty, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, thank you, appreciate that. Thank you. Good question, JD, and I do have an answer for that. You asked me, can you foresee a time when your mind could be changed on what you believe? On the details, absolutely, all the time. I'm always ready to question every aspect of anything I believe in, whether it be history or religion. The only thing that I do not think will ever be changed is whether, like, I do not think I can physically become an atheist. I think it's an impossibility for me. That's the only thing that cannot be changed. But when it comes to anything else, even doctrinally, or when it comes to history, of course, when we go into the secular, everything is in question. Everything is on the table. And Enki says, why do you think that? The answer is my video, Do I Have Faith? You watch that, you'll know why. Thank you, appreciate. Yeah. Cool. Dancer says, Muslims do not fit onto the charge. Today is not about Muslim and Islam, it's about Christianity specifically. Thank you. How do you reconcile Genesis with the old earth? Mostly linguistically and translation, but I have actually promised a dedicated video, and I'll probably make that. Yes. It's in my video, basically it's my version of it's in my book, guys. It is in the video though. I don't know if the stuff he says is in the book. Of course I'm talking about Zaki Hawass. Yes. Good. Yeah, agnosticism, the way I understand it, I know people have different representations of that. In the way, I think the easiest, most basic, without going into too deep of a definition, I think a person who is agnostic is someone who says, we don't know, I don't know, and I guess we'll find out one way or the other afterwards. But do tell me if you disagree with that. So an agnostic doesn't categorically state that there is no afterlife, for instance, or that there is no God. You can be agnostic on something, an atheist on something else. I guess it depends, or a believer on another thing. But in general, that's if we were talking about God, then I would say an atheist. It's still, I mean, unless you want to be completely categorically, an atheist is the very end of agnosticism. Because no atheist can actually categorically state there is no God. And when they do that, they're basically saying that it is their belief that they think that 99% due to the evidence or lack thereof, there is no God, but they can't prove it. It's not mathematically or scientifically proven. And so that, I would say that at the end of the day, it is a gradient of agnosticism that eventually reaches in its highest levels atheism as a position. But then again, usually in the low end of the agnostic, I think what people say is that they don't know. They don't know. Maybe there is a God, maybe there isn't. They're kind of willing to both possibilities, likewise with life after death or miracles and whatnot. And so then, yeah, that's it. Whereas clearly when someone is a theist, like me, I 100% believe that there is a God. Maybe there is a gradient there too, because there are people that are Christians but still struggle with some areas of faith. In that end, I would be at the extreme end of the spectrum. You would put me on the 100%, not even 99. That's where I'm at. Yeah. Benjamin says burden of proof is on believers, not non-believers. Depending on the statement, though. Depending on the statement. So if I am the one, if I am, as a believer, come to you and tell you there is a God, then you can absolutely tell me, well, prove it. The burden is on me as the theist. However, usually, I personally think that the situation will be flipped when you have some atheists that actually do come in my comment section, and just to spite me specifically, they will tell me there is no God. At that point, you're making a categorical statement, then I'll say, prove it. I understand that then we go into the unfalsifiable statement. That's why I wouldn't use it as a response. Like if I state there is a God and you tell me prove it, and then I tell you, well, you prove that it doesn't exist, then that's a logical fallacy. And I would agree with you in that sense, in that respect. But if I'm saying nothing, I just say I believe that there is a God, I believe it, and then you come to me and tell me, no, there is no God, then I think the situation is flipped in that scenario, and only in that scenario. So there's that. I think an ultimate misunderstanding when it comes to religious proof or proof of faith and scientific proof, which work differently, so proof of evidence, is that even though when we discuss science, which I love science, by the way, when we discuss science and I tell you there is this theory, I think that this is what happens, and I can test it, then you can tell me, well, show me the proof, and then I show you the proof, and now you're convinced because me, could show you the proof, then that's how scientific evidence works. But if I tell you I believe there is God 100%, and I will tell you that I have personal proof of that, personal proof. If you come to me as a religious person, and I'm saying this not necessarily as a form of apologetics, but just to show you my point of view and our point of view. If you come to me and tell me, well, then prove it to me, I cannot do that because I am not the source of that proof. The source of that proof is him. So you have to ask him. You cannot ask me to give you the proof because the proof that I've received, I did not generate, differently from science, when I'm the one who is beginning the experiment. So I am the one who can provide the proof. So this is where we go. Proof works different because faith and science are different. And clearly, if you're an atheist, you can tell me you don't believe that I actually have proof, and I absolutely respect that, and I will have to respectfully disagree. It's not a matter of convenient, DMT. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to show you my point of view. I do believe that I have proof for myself, and that proof puts me into 100%. 100%. I have no doubt. But I respect you if you don't believe it. If you don't believe it and you don't believe that I actually... You can even... I would rather say that it's more realistic for you to tell me, I think you were delusional when you had your own personal proofs. I will respect that more because at least... I don't believe that that's the case, but at least in those situations that you think I have some kind of mental episode multiple times in my life, then I would at least appreciate it more because I think then you can still try to see things from my perspective as someone who truly believes that certain things have happened to him. And therefore, that's where I base my faith. That's fine if you think I'm delusional, Amir, and I personally think that it's up to you. It doesn't do anything to me, like it doesn't enrage me or anything. I don't care. It's fine. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. Okay. So, let me see Twitch. Oh, that's funny. No, Amto. Autobot says, I don't know if you're a bot at this point, but probably not. I think we already had this conversation. You're not. My biggest issue with O'Connor is mostly the militant side of his fandom. Well, I can't make the man responsible for his audience. It's not up to him. As long as any creator doesn't specifically say, guys, go and harass, then if a creator does that, then I think the creator should be put as the main responsible. But if a creator is being respectful and his audience goes to, for example, another person that they were shown on screen and they are horrible about it, it's not on the creator, particularly if they even put a disclaimer, no harassment, call to action, like I do all the time. At that point, it's not on the creators. It's not the creator's fault. It just happens. It's part of YouTube. When you have an audience, you cannot control the audience. What you can do is to try and mitigate and perhaps encourage people to behave in a certain way with civility and decency. But not everyone will, and it is what it is. It's not like if we couldn't speak anymore because of that there could be no YouTube. There could be no online presence. So there's that. Yeah. I think you're wrong categorically calling Kappa, and we'll have to agree to disagree. I think I do. Cool. Okay. So, having said that, let's start having a look, and it's obviously good to have you here, guys, and anyone can stay respectful. I understand that just like politics, religion is a very controversial topic in the sense that people get animated and angry, and oftentimes it's because of perhaps you have had to deal with people who are toxic on the other side of wherever you come from. I understand that, but then again, do keep in mind that I am respectful of you. So if you can keep decency, I would appreciate it. I don't like blocking people, but of course, if someone is being consistently toxic and consistently attacking me simply because I think differently, you will be blocked. Just saying it. Okay, cool. So, with that being said, let's have a look at what we've got. Can me and Alex O'Connor, people who belong to opposite side, reach a commonality of conclusion with our morality? Let's have a look. All right. Let's have a look. Mr. O'Connor, the floor is yours.
Would you kill one person or double it and give it to the next person? Okay, on first thought, the answer seems obvious. Double it and give it to the next person. That person will get to decide whether to kill 2 people or give it to the next person. If they choose the next person, that person will choose between 4 people, or the next person 8 people, then the next person. And so if everybody just keeps passing it on to the next person, as long as there's no end to this, presumably nobody has to die. But...
Okay, so just to reiterate very quickly, we are this man here. Let's see what we choose. But we are this man here. We've been given this opportunity to pull the lever. If we pull the lever, the train will turn and kill this person. But then that's going to be the end of the story. No one else has to die. If we don't pull the lever, then we kind of pass the responsibility to the next person. And so now the train will go straight, and they will have the ability to decide whether they want to pull the lever or, once again, pass the responsibility to the next person. The only caveat is that even though the progression of people that have this responsibility is linear, 1, now it's 2, the second, the third, the number of possible potential victims increases exponentially. Right? Every time the lever is pulled, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc. So what do we do? If we are in, what would you do? Let's have a look what he thinks, and as he continues to explain.
It on to the next person, as long as there's no end to this, presumably nobody has to die. But we have to be rational here. Human beings are not perfectly moral, and especially if this does go on infinitely, which we're just going to park some of the laws of physics in order to allow for that to happen. Given an infinite amount of time, anything that could possibly happen is guaranteed to happen.
Right.
If this genuinely goes on forever without end, then as long as it's possible for at least one person to pull that lever, it's guaranteed to happen at some point. So,
okay, so this already, before he actually says his conclusion, I'm going to read the super chats in a second, but I want to say, if we remove the laws of physics for a moment, and we say this will, we know, we are here, I'm here, you are here, and we are told this will continue forever. If this will continue forever, it means that categorically, eventually, mathematically speaking, someone will pull that lever. At that point, I would say pull the lever. Because if this continues forever and you pull the lever, you only have one victim. It's a horrible thing, but I mean, you have been placed in an impossible situation. But if you don't pull the lever, you're specifically ensuring that the train may, in fact, off potentially millions. My voice is quieter. Okay, I'll reduce his voice a little bit. I've given him a -6 decibel. So from a morality perspective, if you don't pull the lever, you are tangentially causing the deaths of a potentially infinite number of people. So, yeah, I think I would say I really would do anything I can to not be put in this position. But saying that there is nothing I can do about it, logically would make sense to do this in this scenario. Let's see if he agrees. Oh, yeah, I want to read the super chats very quickly, and then we continue to see what he thinks. All right. So we've got Wagner, thank you for the support. Question from an agnostic. Are you 100% sure on your specific Judeo-Christian God? Would you care if in reality it isn't exactly that? Like, are you satisfied from the way you worship in case it was not? Love from Brazil. Thank you very much for the question. So for me, when I say I'm 100% sure, I am 100% sure of God and Jesus Christ, because I'm a Christian, so I specifically chose that branch of religion. With that being said, would I be satisfied if there are doctrinal differences to the way I understand him? Absolutely. No problem. In fact, I know that I don't understand him fully, because nobody can. So if there are even big differences to the way I think it, if, the moment I pass on the next life and I open my eyes and I wake up, and then I see and I look and God is there, that's sufficient for me to be satisfied, if that's what you're asking, even if there are minute details. Or even if there are relatively big details. The only thing that I wouldn't expect is there to not be a Christ. So these are the two elements that I would not expect to be, not a thing. But everything else, if like I wake up and I'm like, oh, so I don't know, the Protestants were right, oh, the Catholics were right, or on this doctrine, the whatever the heck were right, then it doesn't matter to me. Miguel says, I'm an atheist and love your content. Thanks. Thank you so much for the open mind, Miguel. I appreciate it. And thank you, Phil, for the support. Very much appreciated. And then we see what you guys think. Yeah, very nice question from Seymour Fields from Twitch. Who the heck tied up millions of people and put them on railroad tracks? Oh, I know, this is going to get insane. With paradoxes, it always goes insane. And I've got a couple of paradoxes of mine to share with you today, apart from the ones that he's presenting. But it is one of those situations, yes. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, exactly. STFU is already kind of giving us some numbers. And he says, for the record, it would only take 20 people to get to 1,048,576. And by the 30th person, it would be 1,017,000,000. Exactly. That's the impressive aspect of exponential growth as opposed to linear growth. And I think anyone who thinks, well, yeah, I can pull the lever because, maybe by person 30, it could happen. But then again, you don't know the number of people at that time. And I think he will instruct us on that. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see.
Or at least one person to pull that lever, it's guaranteed to happen at some point.
Yes.
So some number of people are getting killed here, but you are in quite a unique position. You are the only person in this entire scenario who can guarantee that the fewest number of people possible end up dying by pulling
Fascinating.
the lever, killing that one person, and ending the trolley problem right there. So weirdly, even though it seems like you're choosing between definitely killing one person or the potential to kill nobody, you're actually guaranteed to kill some amount of people if you pass it on to the next person.
Of course, this only works in the infinite scenario, which isn't logically possible, but this is an hypothetical, and within the rules that have been stated for the discussion of this hypothetical, I'm in agreement.
Because if this does go on infinitely, somebody is going to pull the lever. However, of course, if we switch the laws of physics back on again, we can recognize that this will not, in fact, go on forever. And so my only question would be, when does this end? Like, is it...
I think it's more interesting now, because the previous version, when he's like, if this is going to continue infinitely, kind of gives us the answer already. I think that's the best answer. The only thing that I can see is someone saying, well, I don't want to be the responsible, and therefore I'm kind of washing my hands out of it. But indirectly, you would only be hiding from the truth that you still, with your choose for inaction, you still have caused, and the death on, in fact, potentially enormous amount of people, and so you would only be deluding yourself in that scenario, and therefore I think at that point you would have to make the hard choice. That's it, from a moral perspective at that point. Yeah, there is a huge difference when you know you're the first person in the chain. Exactly. And it seems like that is one of the preconditions of this discussion. You know exactly where you are. It is in fact a responsibility test. Yeah, precisely. Good. But now he has shifted. Now he has shifted the scenario. The rules have changed. And therefore, if the rules of engagement change with any thought process, then we need to see if the logic still work, or if our morality now is going to change a little bit, or maybe completely. The dynamics have changed. So now the laws of physics are implemented. This is not infinite. What are the numbers that we are dealing with? I would like to thank you. Hi 52. The trolley problem is problematic because everyone will always say they'd pull the lever. However, when the one person is a loved one, they won't. This, obviously, yeah, that's actually very good. I want to see if he presents this, because that will kind of present a new layer. What happens if is a very good... what if it's a family member? Absolutely. And we can explore this if he doesn't, because it's a very interesting alternative version of the discussion that makes it a lot harder. Let's continue.
Is it 100 people that you could possibly give this to? In that case, I'd be pretty confident that no one's going to pull the lever and kill the innocent people, because I reckon 100 people have it in them to do the morally correct thing.
Okay, before he continues, I think we would have to look at statistics here. What are the chances? What are the numbers of sociopaths and psychopaths within any given population cluster as a general number? I wonder, because that would be an element of this. Not to mention, maybe it's not even necessarily the problem of a sociopath. It could also be a problem that someone could make the wrong mistake within that given 100 people. And by the time, as you were saying, you get to number 10 already, or 20, yeah, the risk is still incredible. So you guys say 1%, 3%, maybe even about 5%, Andrew says. 10% says, yeah, I mean, depending on the percentage, that's a massive risk you're taking by rolling that die. So we'll have to say, I don't know, man. Will all those 100 people make the right decision, and so we reach the very end, and then the 100th is not pulling? And you know what really makes this a problem? The numbers, he's got to go into the exponential numbers and actually show us what we're dealing with in terms of potential victims, which still puts me in a scenario where I would be like, I don't want to roll that die.
But wait, I'm not sure about that, because as the number of people increases that could pull the lever, so do the number of victims. And actually, the number of victims are doubling every time. It's exponential, whereas the number of people who could potentially pull the lever are going up linearly. And I think people often don't really understand the power of exponential growth. There's a famous myth about some ruler of India sometime hundreds and hundreds of years ago. I think it might be like the guy who invents chess really impresses this Indian.
What a guy, by the way, the inventor of chess. What a guy.
Years ago. I think it might be like the guy who invents chess really impresses this Indian ruler. And the ruler says, I'll give you a reward because of this wonderful game that you've invented, anything you like. And all the inventor of the chessboard wanted in return was for the ruler to take one single grain of rice and put it on the first square of the chessboard. Then just double it. Take 2 grains of rice and put it on the second square. Then 4 on the third square and 8 on the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna go nuts. What number is it gonna be once you reach this? Millions? Tens of millions? Who the heck knows? This is crazy. You think about it, it doesn't look like much. This is a very good idea, way to describe. I think it's an excellent, in fact, way to describe exponential growth. So 1 becomes 2 is not a big deal. 2 becomes 4 is not a big deal. 4 becomes 8. You're like, oh, still 8. But this is going to continue. And every time it's going to double. It's going to go out of hand very quickly. I really hope he shows us the numbers. I am so curious. Let's go.
Square, and so on and so forth. And the ruler thinks, I got off pretty easy there, I can do that. It's just grains of rice. Sure thing, and he agrees. So on the first square, he puts 1 grain of rice. On the second, he puts 2. By the time he gets to the 10th square, there's 512 grains of rice. So still pretty manageable. But believe it or not, by the time you get to square number 20, there need to be 524,288 grains of rice on that square. By the time you get to square number 30, the ruler would need 536,870,912 grains of rice to fulfill his promise. So how many grains of rice would need to be placed on the final square of the chessboard? Square number 64?
Trillions, quintillions.
9 quintillion, 223 quadrillion, 372 trillion, 36 billion, 854 million, 775,808. That's a lot of rice. In fact, that's more grains of rice than there have been seconds since the universe began. So even if this scenario only had 100 potential people, and if you passed it on to 100 people and nobody pulled the lever, the game would just end. Even with only 100 people, if you double the number of victims every time, by the time you got to that 100th person, the number of victims would be, well, it's a number too large to actually say out loud, so I'll just put it on the screen. Yeah.
You got to pull that lever. We're back to square 1. Very well argued, by the way. I love the mathematics of it. Good evening, Baron. Insane amount. I want to say hello to my good friend Daniel Edwards. First word I heard as I got here was psychopaths. Well, the word right before that was sociopaths. So there's that. I think changing that when you arrived here over a second wouldn't have done much to help with that. But yeah. Wow. Hello, Higashi Martial Arts. We're talking about morality and moral decisions when placed in an impossible scenario. And we're watching Alex O'Connor, who so far has produced a very intriguing video and is doing a very good job at explaining the positions. What we want to see is, due to the fact that we come from 2 diametrically opposite positions, as he's an atheist and I'm a Christian, we want to see if we can still agree on what would be the most moral decision given an impossible paradox or scenario like this. And it's a very, very interesting thing. Yeah, no problem, Higashi Martial Arts. Azaz to you. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for being here. Fantastic. And obviously, as always, the VODs stay up, guys, and then I'll make a super cat. Moral or ethical? Probably moral and ethical. I would put both in this situation. Do let me check one thing before we continue. Occasionally just have a look at numbers just to make sure everything is going well. Yeah, everything is going fine. Okay. And the connection is good. All right, let's continue. So that's the number of potential victims. I'm pulling the lever at that point.
That's how many people we'd have on the tracks if we only got to the 100th person in the chain. If we let this go on to person number 266, the number of victims at that point would be more than the estimated number of atoms in the observable universe. So let's look at some expected value here. Right. Even if the probability that one of those 100 people would pull the lever is incredibly small, because the number of victims involved is so unfathomably large, you have to kind of count these against each other. Such is the power of exponential growth, and such is the reason why I think I would probably just pull the lever at the beginning to get this over with. Okay, so in this one...
Okay, so do we agree? The way he has explained it, yes, I would say that I would pull the lever, having given all of this, because at the end of the day, by refusing to pull the lever, the potential of not having. I would look at pulling the lever as saving all of the other people, and in that scenario, I'm absolutely pulling the lever. Yeah. So interestingly enough, we have different worldviews, completely different source for our morality and ethics, yet we made the same choice. I want to see if someone disagrees, but to me that seems fair. Yeah, Nicholas, absolutely. In fact, I think it is your moral responsibility to pull that freaking lever if you have been caught at the beginning. Daniele Fabro says, can't we just stop the trailer? Yeah, I mean, of course, as part of the hypothetical, I'm imagining that that's not possible. If that is even a small, minute possibility, then I think we would try and exhaust that. But if we fail, and then we're back to square one, and we still have to pull that damn lever or not, then I pull the lever, and so would he. Interesting. So there's that. What is the trolley made of, and how fast is it going? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting trolley, but then again, whatever the trolley is made of, it just goes over you, and you are on the right railroad, whatever you want to call it. At that point, I think you're not going to survive that. What happened to Alex Air? Yeah, what's wrong with it? I think he's just put some product in it, right? Or do you mean the length? I don't know what you mean by that. Looks like a little bit of gel. When I had short hair, I used to use gel myself. Hey Doc, thank you for supporting the stream. Would be more interesting to examine the situation where the first guy has a choice between one person or a lever that works randomly, and one track has 10 or 2 people and the other track has none. This is also very interesting. In fact, I do think that there exist multiple versions of this paradox, and I imagine that he might show some. I don't know if he's going to show more, but I know he has shown. The reason why I kind of know where this is going a little bit is because this is not the first time that he posts a video like this, and I like watching these videos to see whether we agree or not. So thank you for that. But that could be also another interesting one. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. How is Twitch? Who would jump in front of the trolley, assuming this would also stop it? Beautiful way to say it. Yeah, self-sacrificing individual could do it. I think the reason why I would not jump in front of the trolley is because, I'll be honest with you, is because I'm married. So the moment I think you become a married person and then you have a child, now you have a responsibility to protect and provide. And so that's why I wouldn't jump in front of the trolley at that point, even though it's bad. If I was alone and I had no one who depended on me, I would consider it. But if I'm not alone, to save someone else. But if I have someone who depends on me, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. But thank you for sharing that. Okay. Let's go.
I would probably just pull the lever at the beginning to get this over with. Okay, so in this one, on the bottom track are ISPs, hackers, and big tech. And your internet data is about to collide with them.
Okay, that's a spot. It took me a second. Oh, look, YouTube added a new button. This is new. This is new. Jump ahead. You can skip it by clicking. Oh, I gotta try this, but this is the sponsor, right? Yes, this is the sponsor. What is it? A VPN, okay. What happens if I click? Hey, it works. Look at that. YouTube, did they just implement this? Wow. I did not know that. Yeah, YouTube have a way to skip ahead. I think, now that I think about it, didn't they do it with my video today? 1 second, I need to check this. Ooh, that's funny. Wait. I need to go into the channel very quickly. Because now that I think about it... And by the way, I don't know, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to show it now. Because you need to watch this. No, not the whole video, just the first 15 seconds. You need to watch it. And then possibly go watch the video as well. But look at this. I'm proud. I'm proud of it. Subscribe to the Metatron channel.
Wow.
Yeah, there is a jump ahead. Look. What do you mean jump ahead, YouTube? This is marvelous. This is what? How could you jump ahead? This. Let's see. So it jumps ahead. That's interesting. Must be AI. integrated because it recognizes the sponsor section perfectly, and it also recognized the intro. Man, how did they do that? That was a great intro though, wasn't it? That was a great call to action for subscribers. I think it was. I'm very proud of it. And yeah, this was fascinating anyways to see. I did not know that they did that. So we just discovered something, guys. We always learn something new. I suppose. Is it keybound? I have no idea, Krabby. I have no idea. But yeah, let's continue. Oh yeah, I do want to, before we continue, thank you very much, STFU. But according to Matthew 12:32 and various other verses, suicide is the only sin that cannot be forgiven, even if the S word, I should read it, is for a good cause. I think, yeah, maybe that would, I don't know if I would consider, I understand, of course, this is against, I don't know if it's I don't think it is the only unforgivable sin. I think the unforgivable sin from a biblical perspective is shedding of innocent blood. I think that's the only unforgivable, but still, this is something that we shouldn't do. A Christian should never do this. I agree with that. Would it be considered, if he sacrificed to save someone, I don't know if it would count. Because, I mean, if I can survive the impact with the thing, it would be good. It's good way to present it. Good position, maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. You're right, Veselin, but I think it's connected, at least in some doctrinal approaches, that is often connected to the spreading of, to the shedding of innocent blood. But then again, yeah, I don't think it's an unforgivable. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I don't know. No, I'm not here to necessarily debate the doctrine of that. Let's go.
Free. With that said, let's get back to it. If Omega predicts you won't pull the lever, 5 people are positioned into the tunnel. Okay, this needs some unpacking. So you've got 2 tracks. One has an innocent person tied up and the other has a tunnel, and you can't see what's in the tunnel. You've also got this thing called Omega, which for the purposes of this discussion is a prediction machine, and it's one that's accurate. Okay. If Omega predicts something is going to happen, it has 100% accuracy. And if you don't like imagining a machine that can predict things with 100% accuracy, then just imagine it's God or something with infallible foreknowledge. So here's the problem. Before this scenario is set up, the infallible predictor makes a prediction. And if the infallible predictor predicts that you'll send the trolley towards that tunnel, it will put 5 people under the tunnel. If, however, it predicts that you'll kill that one innocent person, it leaves the tunnel completely empty. So now you're on the tracks and you know all of this information and it's already set up. Omega can't go and change anything now. It's already set in place.
This is fascinating. I'm liking this even more. Because I think he's going into the idea of fate at this point. So I think we all understood. He explained it very clearly. There is a predictor. Did you notice how he gave 2 options to his audience? Is like either imagine it at a supercomputer, an ultimate general artificial intelligence that can predict everything to a 100% correct prediction, or if you prefer, think about it, if you don't like that idea, think of it as God. And of course, as Christians, we do believe that God can predict the future with 100% accuracy. But absolutely. Did you notice that he didn't mock the side that doesn't like to imagine the machine being capable of doing that? He just presented it as a possibility. That's one thing that I do appreciate very much of Alex, because for me, I'm okay considering both, because who knows what the heck general AI will be able to do. Doesn't offend me to think about that in any way, shape or form. But yeah, of course, I can also imagine this as the idea of, yeah, exactly. Dancer says, so no free will. So you connect it to the idea of free will. We'll see if he talks about it. I know that Alex O'Connor doesn't believe in free will. Like a lot of scientists now are, or at least science communicators are starting to accept the idea of that free will is an illusion. I disagree. I think free will is a thing. We can go into it if he goes into it. But thank you for sharing that, because I didn't think of that. Yeah, I was thinking of fate, but that does very well connect indeed to the idea of the possibility of free will. Samuel on Twitch says, are you going to finish watching the Jordan Peterson? Yes, towards the end of the stream, we will finish the Jordan Peterson. So that's happening today as well. Once we are done reacting to Alex O'Connor, then we talk a little bit with chat, and then we move into finishing the react with and the commentary of Jordan Peterson. Absolutely. Yes. All right.
And nothing can be altered. So here's the question. What do you do? This is a variant of a paradox called Newcome's paradox. Robert Nozick once said that when faced with this kind of situation, almost everybody knows, obviously, what the right answer is. The problem is that those people are split evenly, about 50-50, between which answer they think is the correct one. Here's how the problem was originally formulated. Suppose there are two boxes on a table, box 1 and box 2. It's some kind of game show. Box number 1 is transparent, and you can see that it's got $1,000 in it. Box number 2 is opaque. You can't see what's inside. And here are your options in the game. You can take for yourself either just the second box, box 2, or you can take box 1 and box 2. Once again, there is an infallible predictor, maybe an advanced AI, maybe God himself, but someone or something that's able to predict with 100% accuracy what you will do. Here's the catch. If the computer predicted that you would take both boxes, box 2 is left empty. There's nothing in it, and the total amount of money on the table is $1,000. But if the computer predicted that you would only take box 2 on its own, then the computer puts $1 million into box number 2. So you're stood at the table, you know that those are the circumstances. What do you do?
Man, that's deep. Man, that's deeper, because basically what you choose will influence what's going to happen, because the machine / God already knows. That is deep. That is deep. Well, let's see how he's gonna what he's gonna say.
Many people, it seems like you should just take the second box. It's an infallible predictor, and if you take both boxes, you'll only get $1,000, whereas if you just take that second box, you'll get $1 million. That seems pretty reasonable, but here's the thing. The scenario is already set up. The computer can't change anything now. I mean, think about it. If you decide for yourself, I'm definitely just going to take box 2 because the infallible predictor said that if I do that, I'll get $1 million. Okay, decision made. That's what you're about to do. And because you've made that decision, the box will have $1 million in it. But nothing can change. So if you now, knowing that, just say, actually, I'll take them both, that $1 million can't go anywhere, and presumably you'd just get an extra $1,000. But the problem with that, of course, is that that would mean the infallible predictor was wrong about which boxes you would choose.
And it can't be wrong because it's infallible as the premise of this discussion. Fascinating.
But it can't be wrong. So somehow, if you did change your mind in the last moment like that, the machine would have predicted it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you ask me, if we just stipulate that the computer can't be wrong in its predictions, then I'm just taking that second box. Like, this isn't really much of a paradox to me. But I can understand why it seems absolutely ludicrous once you're there and the scenario is already set up and none of the conditions can be changed to think, well, now, why wouldn't I just take the second box as well? It's not like they can get rid of the $1 million. But I think that people who feel that way are just struggling to comprehend what it would mean to have a genuinely infallible predictive machine. Hopefully you can see that this trolley problem is a version of the same paradox. If the machine predicts that you'll send the trolley into the tunnel, then it will have put 5 people there. But if it predicts that you would only kill the one, there's nobody under the tunnel. What do we do here? Well, if we send it into the tunnel, the predictive machine will have put 5 people in there. So that would be the wrong thing to do. So let's only kill that one person.
That's, of course, would be the best. But then now I see where he's going. Let me read. This is fascinating. Thank you, great MMORPG. Would you self-sacrifice and get 2-minute unskippable ads for the rest of your life, or every content you try to watch, even shorts, if the rest of humanity gets no ads for the rest of the time? Yeah, I mean, sure. Although then again, the ads is not really the highest thing in my priority when it comes to factors that have to do with quality of life, but I guess 2 minutes of a skippable life for the rest of you. I think eventually you'll find something. Yeah, sure. Because at the end of the day, you know what I could do with that? It's like I start the video and while the ads play, I do something else. Like I prepare, like I clean. I can rearrange my life in a way that it still works. Annoying, but I'd say sure. And Nick says, tell me please, if you look at the development of religion throughout history, won't you find evidence that religion developed under the influence of... I don't know if you sent it by mistake. So let me see if your name is Nick. Maybe you didn't finish. Ignorance. Okay, sorry. No, I don't think so. But some religious ideas that I don't believe come from God but come from man could have been developed under the influence of ignorance for sure. But for me, not religion as a whole, sorry. So yeah, did I crash the world economy? Apologies. I apologize for that. My sincerest apologies. And then we have another super chat from Nick. The human psyche on everything that happened around it, and that all religions have a lot in common. Yes, which would mean that we are the creators of, or not necessarily. Either it means we are the creators of it, or they were all created with a baseline of commonality. And I think it's the latter, personally. That's what I think, Nick. But yeah. So sorry. There we go. Thank you. All right, let's see what he says. What is the right choice according to him?
Okay, decision made. We pull the lever, we kill the one innocent person. But hold on, we know the conditions, which means knowing that the tunnel is empty, we've decided to still kill that one innocent person.
There's no
but if
way
you
out.
do know that, if you know the tunnel must be empty, and you also know that the machine can't do anything now, the scenario has already been set up and nothing can be changed, why would you kill the innocent person instead of sending it through an empty tunnel? Well, okay, I'll just send it through the tunnel then.
And now there are 5 people.
But if the machine predicted that you were going to do that, then it would have put 5 people in the tunnel and you'll kill 5 innocent people.
Yes.
So you should definitely run over the one person.
Yeah.
But if the machine predicted you'll run over the one person, the tunnel would be empty. So you should send it
It's a
through the tunnel.
paradox. Yeah.
But that would mean that you should send it to the one person. But if you send it to the one person, that means that the tunnel's empty and you should send it through the tunnel. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a paradox.
It is.
And of course, this paradox leans really heavily on the concept of there being this perfectly infallible predictive machine or being, which maybe because of these kinds of paradoxical outcomes, we might just say that such a being or such a machine is just impossible. But look, if you believe in God and you believe that God is omniscient, then God is this kind of machine. He's a perfectly infallible predictor. If he predicts that something is going to happen in the future, it's guaranteed to happen. Famously, this brings up some difficult considerations around human free will. If God
you predicted it, guy. There we go. We've got a predicting machine here in the comments. You said it was going to be free agency, and it is. So yeah, by the way, when it comes to the paradox, I would still pull the lever on that one as well, because there is no way to beat the machine anyways, and so it's the only way to guarantee that you don't actually off the other 5. And the simple fact that as a reaction to that, because I made that choice, now the tunnel is empty, great, but if it doesn't matter at that point, is my position. Thank you, Memento Mori, for becoming a guardian. We will have a 30 minutes for members only later, so thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, well, let's see the free will section, because I have something to say about that. So let's have a look, because I have thought about it deeply, and I don't think that... I think you can have... Okay, let me put it this way. The presence of a perfect predictor, whether it be a machine or a god, let's consider God for a moment, someone who knows what will happen in the future, including yours, someone who knows that right now I'm going to grab this Pepsi, and I'm non-sponsored, and I'm not going to grab this water, that does not mutually exclude the possibility of my own free will to take that Pepsi. I don't think his prediction precludes the possibility for me to have free agency, and I'll tell you why. But I want to see the way he defends it first. Let's see.
God knows to happen. Famously, this brings up some difficult considerations around human free will. If God knows what I'm about to do in 5 minutes with 100% accuracy, am I really free to choose to do something else? If I were, then that means I could do it, but if I could do it, that would mean I could make God wrong about something. And that doesn't seem right. There's been loads of discussion around that problem, and I think it highlights the weirdness that comes about philosophically when we introduce a perfectly infallible predictor. I mean, situations like this might...
Okay, well, let me respond to that, because I think he's wrong when it comes to that. And it's well argued, though. As I say, I love the way he argues. But here's how I'm going to defend the idea of free will in connection, philosophically speaking, and logically speaking, in connection with the idea of a infallible, omniscient God. So a God can, with 100% accuracy, know what's going to happen in the future, which is, by the way, part of core doctrine in Christianity. So we have to approach this as Christians, and because if we dodge the question, then we're not being honest intellectually. That is absolutely part of the doctrine. Okay, but let me tell you why. So What is free will? Free will is my ability to freely choose between wearing this mask or not. That's free will. God knows what I'm going to do. He knows, for instance, that now I'm going to wear the mask. Does the fact that God knows make it for me impossible now to exit this fate that has been generated by his ability to see the future, and therefore I'm not actually free because it has been decided even before I was born? God knew that or a machine if you prefer, knew that I was going to do that, and therefore now I have the illusion of free agency, but the reality is that I have no other possible outcome than taking this mask and putting it in front of my face, because if I did and I actually chose not to wear it, that would make God wrong, and God cannot possibly be wrong. Therefore, I don't actually have the choice. I think there is the apparent logical inconsistency of this statement is due to the way it's presented. Let me put it this way, and that's how I look at it. This is actually something that I kind of decided that I believe in a long time ago. Imagine this scenario for a moment. My father, earthly father, not heavenly father, my dad. My dad knows me very well because I'm his child. He knows me. He knows my interests, my talents, what I like, what I dislike. Now imagine for a moment that someone goes to my dad and tells him, hey, Raffaello, Metatron, but Raffaello, your son, is now about to enter a room. In this room, there is a beautiful medieval suit of armor. It's right there. And there is, on the other side, there is a, let's just say, I don't know, I'm just coming up with it right now, but there is a football, but it's signed by the best football players in the world. You could take one, you can't take the other. So if you choose one, you're not getting the other. Let's say that they are equally valuable when it comes to price. Can my dad predict what I'm about to do? I'm going to say yes with 100% accuracy. In fact, that's my father. I think you can predict that, noble ones. Never mind my dad. When it comes to my dad, his ability to predict what I'm going to do is actually more extensive because I'm his child. But does the fact that my father is predicting that I will absolutely completely ignore the freaking football and footballer and take the medieval suit plate of armor, does the fact that he knows that and is capable of predicting it remove the freedom of choice that I have to take either the ball or the suit of armor? No, it doesn't. Even if we don't put a God for a moment in this discussion, it's just that he knows me so much and so well that he knows what I'm about to do. Now let's take, this is just an example with my earthly father, who is still limited. He's a human being. And of course, there are things he may not know about me, about my biology, about whatever the heck. But now let's transport it into the realm of the godly and the divine. God is still a father from our perspective. And even if you're atheist, just for the sake of argument, I'm asking you to kind of look at this for a moment. Just for the sake of argument, give me this one. God is a father, but he's a perfect father and he's a divine father. So he knows you better than you can ever know yourself. Biologically, chemically, spiritually, internally, everything. He knows things that we can't even imagine. Therefore, he's capable of predicting everything that we're going to do up to a 100% accuracy. But in the same way that my father's knowledge of me and my passions and proclivities and just the way I am did not remove free agency from what I was about to choose, because that choice still comes from me. Likewise, God's full knowledge and understanding of his child and the fact that he can then predict what I'm about to do does not take away my freedom of choice in an even more sensible way, because he knows even more. That's the way I would respond to the problem of free will in connection with an omniscient entity. Just as a matter of logics. I'm not even going in necessarily into the religion, because clearly you can tell me, but I don't believe there is such a thing. That's fine. I respect that. But from the point of view of the discussion that he has presented, I don't think that the two things are mutually exclusive. It really depends how you word it. And that's how I would respond to that. So thank you very much. I don't know what I'm doing for becoming a member of the channel. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And let's see what you guys think, because I appreciate that. You say exactly, thank you, Meta. Thank you. And Harrison says, but he's not infallible. We were talking about my dad. Yeah, he's not infallible, but I'm telling you, indeed, but of course in this discussion God would be. But regardless of that, yes, my dad is not infallible, but let me tell you that much, he would not fail that one. He would not fail that one. That one he would not fail. So yeah, that's the way I would respond to this hypothetical. What if the armor is not segmentata? Same, you give me armor, I'm going to choose the armor, my friend. And that's simply because of personal interests. Maybe some of you love football so much that you would absolutely get the football. Or maybe we can come up with a scenario where both things are enticing. And then in order for us to really understand and predict with a very high degree of success what you would choose, well, you'd really need someone who knows you better and better, which will eventually, we can make it as complicated as we want, but it will still lead to the fact that in this discussion, in this hypothetical, the predicting machine or the god are perfect predictors, and therefore, because they can know everything, that's how they predict, because they know you so well that they can predict. Yeah, like for instance, Space Monkey saying, what if there are two different armors? Then you would have to know me and my personal tastes better in order for you to predict successfully which one I'm going to choose. Like for instance, imagine one is historically accurate and one is not. That already kind of gives, I think you can predict that one. And again, we can make it as difficult as we want. The increase in complexity just demands for a higher complex being to be able to successfully predict 100% of times. But then again, we are discussing a god or a perfect machine, so that's already a given. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, IX says, but your dad could fail if asked to predict the decision years away when you were 1 day old. True. Absolutely. Thing is, God wouldn't in that discussion, or the machine, if you prefer, because they can see things, like imagine, like God knows everything, or a machine that understands you at a biological level in ways that we cannot comprehend would know what you would do in that scenario. But then again, you can, of course, agree with him if you want. Doesn't matter, I'm just presenting my counter-argument. And then you can choose which one to you makes more logical sense. Okay, cool. Let me double check that I didn't forget any super chat. Good. So, hi, 52. Thank you for the support. And thank you, Jasper Owens, for sending a Metatron membership. I really appreciate that. Sorry for taking a little bit to see it. I saw it now. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. There is a strong difference between knowing every possible outcome and knowing which one it will take and forcing a particular outcome. Yeah, there is. There actually is, exactly. And I'm basically arguing in favor of this, which is the way I see omniscience. Is that how you say it as a noun in English, I guess? So that's how I would do it. Okay, let's continue and see where we go. Appreciate that, Jasper. Thank you for your patience. Thank you so much. And then I'll read a little bit from Twitch as well. But let's continue.
When we introduce a perfectly infallible predictor. I mean, situations like this might just demonstrate the impossibility of perfect predictor machines in a world where free will can exist, or alternatively, the impossibility of free will in a world where perfect predictor machines can exist. That would mean it's just up to you which is more plausible, the existence of free will or the
third option,
existence of a perfect predictor machine, because the existence of one might rule out the existence of the other. For me, again, it's relatively simple. If we just stipulate that the machine is 100% accurate in its prediction, then yeah, you should kill that one innocent person. That seems relatively obvious to me, but as Robert Nozick pointed out, there'll be about half of you listening going, "What are you talking about, man? You should obviously send it into the tunnel." But I don't know. Let me know what you would do in the comments.
I don't think it's going to be feasible. We can try it, but I think everyone up to this point, what you explained it, I think the people that say, no, what are you talking about, send it in the tunnel, didn't understand the sort of premise of this discussion. So I don't think it's going to be 50-50. But then again, you can tell me what you think. I would say that everyone who understands the logics behind this and the premise of the machine/God that can predict everything, then would off the one. Isn't it interesting, though, that we disagree? We disagree on free will. We disagree on the impossibility of a omniscient being in the presence of free will. And yet we are still coming to the same conclusion. Pull that freaking lever. I think that's fascinating. I think that's fascinating. And I also think there is a reason why. In my belief system, there is a reason why. Even though we have different ideas, different opinions, different everything, and we believe in different origins of our morality and ethics, yet we overlap. And I think there is a reason, and I'll share it later. Not because I'm not trying to do a catch, just because I want to continue the video and I want to stop interrupting him, but I will tell you what I think. But we do agree so far.
Let's boost that engagement. Okay, in this one, a trolley is heading towards one person, and if you allow it to kill them, your memory will also be wiped, so you won't remember what's just happened. If you pull the lever, then the trolley won't kill anybody, but it will make you think that you've killed somebody, and you'll live the rest of your life with that guilt, thinking that you've killed someone. No one actually dies, but you'll believe that someone had died. Now, I'm proud to say that this particular trolley problem was posted years ago to a Trolley Problem Memes Facebook page, and the person who made it said that they were inspired by one of my old podcasts where I brought up a similar dilemma, so thanks for that. And what this basically boils down to is, would you rather kill an innocent person and then immediately forget about it forever, or not kill an innocent person, but live the rest of your life thinking that you had, and live...
Okay, this is fascinating because to me, it's this. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. And this may be one of those scenarios where we disagree, because for me, it doesn't matter the way I feel, because life does not represent everything there is to it. So even if I forget, and I kill and I forget, live my life happily, but when I die, I will be judged upon that. And so not only I don't want anyone to die, I don't want, so even if there was no God, just for the way I am, I would rather know before, even though I forget about it, it doesn't matter to me. Even if I remove the religious section of it, just the way I think, I would say, no, I will not kill anyone, and then the machine is going to make me think that I did. I'll live through my life like that, but at least I know now, even if I don't later, and it's going to give me trauma, at least I know now that I'm not going to be the cause for someone not being able to go back to their children or to their spouse. No question. But once you add the religion to it, then there is no way that a religious person could say, oh no, I choose this one because I forget and who cares? Because as a religious person, I still believe, yeah, but God knows. And so at that point, as a religious person even more, this option becomes absolutely impossible for me. Let's see what he thinks.
Living with that guilt. Here it's important to separate two questions. What would you do and what should you do? I think most people confronted with a situation like this think the right thing to do is sacrifice your own psychological well-being and keep the person alive. But when people reflect on what they would do given the choice, I think a lot of people admit that they just wouldn't be able to put themselves through that. And if you are feeling a bit torn about this one, it is worth remembering this is also a trolley problem, meaning that you don't exactly kill the person, rather you just allow them to die by not pulling the lever. You might still think that's a really bad thing to do, but
doesn't make any difference, to be honest to me.
It might not be quite as bad as killing them proactively. So is it permissible for the sake of your own psychological welfare to kill an innocent person?
For me, no.
Worded like that, most people would say no. And like I say, when asked what you should do, I think most people that I ask this to say that you should save the person and live with the guilt for the rest of your life. Just put up with it. But if that's the case, it does tell us one interesting thing, which is that ethics seemingly isn't entirely reducible to what's good for our own selves. The reason this is important is because some meta-ethical theories try to prove that we should care about other people because caring about other people is in some way good for us. Like a lot of people think that ethics is just about well-being, and they say that's just kind of a brute fact. Well-being just feels good. This is kind of what Sam...
I agree, Daniele Fabbro. You say there are no excuses for killing a person, innocent or guilty. Well, do I agree? In self-defense, I mean, I think there are some excuses. If someone enters my home and wants to mess with my wife or kid, yeah, double tap center and mass is what I'm telling you. Castle doctrine, 100%, and I think that's fine. But then again, yeah, I understand that there are plenty of... In this specific scenario, maybe we're discussing, then I can understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. you, your mental well-being is the difference is massive. I'm like, I'm not taking out a person like that and committing a murder just because I don't want to go through the trauma. And even more so considering the fact that to me, life is just a blink of an eye in comparison to eternity. And there will be repercussions in eternity. Again, not because I'm scared of hell, but simply because I'm scared of my personal mental and spiritual development in the presence of the God that I want to return to, possibly in the best way that I can. So it's deeper, I think, but in general, let's see. Sam Harris, what is he going to say? And I do want to say what you guys think. So let me read. So let's see. F's sake, government, why are trolleys so dangerous? People keep dying. You're absolutely right, Devil Ray. What are they doing with these trolleys? Goodness gracious. I don't think Alex is a villain. Black Feathers, he looks like a good guy to me, in fact. If anything, it would be lovely if I could have like a long, deep conversation with him, camera off or camera on, doesn't matter, and I could claim him as one of us. That would be fantastic if I could. I don't think I can, because I don't think human beings convert. In my position, it is always God that converts. But I would love it, because I think he's a great guy. To me, it looks like a really nice, really reasonable, very intelligent individual. That's why I like watching his videos and seeing where he stands on these topics. Thank you very much, Arago. Hi, Metatron, been watching your channel for a while and wanted to know if it's okay with you for me to react to some of you. Of course, yeah, absolutely. I react to people, so anyone can react to me. It's with a different channel than this one. Absolutely, totally. We're looking forward to it. I love it when people do that. 100%. In fact, if anything, thank you for reacting to some of my videos. Absolutely, totally. I mean, could you imagine if I said, you can't react to my videos, that you're not allowed to while I'm reacting to someone? But I appreciate that you're being very... asking for permission. I understand you're being polite, and I appreciate your politeness, but there is no need to ask. Yeah, Anne Frida is presenting a terrible one. Terrible. I don't even want to go there because I can't even imagine it. But you did come up with a very strong one. I just don't want to go into it for now because I hate the idea of imagining it. But that's a good one, maybe for another day. Let's go.
Sam Harris does, right? He says, if you disagree that pain is bad, just go and put your hand on a stove and see how long you can hold on to that belief. And you might say to Sam Harris, as I did for about 3 hours straight, okay, I think my pain is bad for me, so to speak, but then why should I care about other people? To which one response might be, well, if you don't care about other people's well-being, they're all going to suffer, and it's going to make society worse, which in turn will make your life worse. In fact, that is basically what's...
It's a little bit of a self-centered answer, though. I would say that whether you want to say that comes from a good God or whether that comes from a natural evolutionary trait of caring for other people, we know as a species we have the ability to feel someone else's pain. We do. We can be, some of us more than others, and some of us definitely less than others. But in general, on average, we have that ability. Even with animals, if I see my dog that is like whining, I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? Like immediately. I go into that immediately and I want to do my very best, even if that doesn't have necessarily a reward for me. It doesn't matter at that point. It's just something we have innately. And I would say, luckily, unfortunately, some of us don't, and empathy, exactly. And oftentimes, those who don't tend to be in power. Look at 20th century political totalitarianism. I wish there was a way to avoid that, to be honest, but here we are. I don't need to be told, oh, but if you care about other people suffering, then there will be a beneficial aspect, a return to it. I don't need that. I'm not saying that that's his point. I'm saying to whoever would use that point, I would say personally, I don't need it. Maybe you want to use it as a way to explain why it's hardwired in us, because there is I guess if you look at it from the evolutionary pattern, then you need to find an actual beneficial reason that could give us an explanation as to why we evolved that way. Of course, if you remove a creator, if you put a creator, then he did it. He put that in us. But if you remove the creator from his worldview, and I want to try and look at it from it, then I guess that's why they try to explain it from an evolutionary perspective. Well, what is the evolutionary benefit from caring for other people? Problem with that is I think it does reach a limit, because at one point it's difficult to really explain everything from an evolutionary perspective. I can understand caring for people who are alive, but why do we still love and care for people who are dead? There is no evolutionary benefit to that. They're gone, and yet we still care. Is it a remnant? It was something that we couldn't be biologically removed from. I mean, we are pretty complex when it comes to what we find awkward or not. Yeah, the social animal aspect is something that usually they present, I understand, and of course we see it slightly differently, but as I say, whatever the reason is as to why we care, we do. And I think at this point, we don't even need to have a reason that could benefit us or we can gain something from it.
Sam Harris said to me when I raised this objection. Take a look.
I mean, the first answer to your question, why should you care about other people, is really prior to the question. You can just notice that you do, right? That like you this is your default mode if you're not a psychopath. And there's a reason why that is, because so much of what's good in life is born of your entanglement with other people. I mean, we're deeply social creatures, and if you're going to go live in a cave, well, then the conversation might change a little bit. I mean, a moral solitude is its own thing, and we can talk about that. But given that most of us have to and want to interact with other people, I think we will find most of the time that we actually want to interact with people who are not miserable, right? We don't want desperate, miserable people crowding our door. We want people who are filled with joy and creative energy and have good things to say and interesting things to say. They have the disposable wealth and time so as to do beautiful things that we appreciate. Like when you open Netflix, you want to see good shows, not terrible shows. At least you want.
I don't know, sir. Negativity attracts a lot of click. I'm going to say that from the perspective of a content creator, but if I don't know about that. It's a little generalizing. Don't want to strawman the man, but just in case, I may have misunderstood him here. So if I did misunderstand him, I apologize profusely, but I'm just going to say that if I make a video and I tell you nice things that medieval people did in 12th century, it's going to get 16,000 views, and if I make a video horrible things that medieval people did in the 12th century, it's going to get 80,000 views. I'm just saying. But maybe I misunderstood him.
I see some shows, and that presupposes the people who have the free time and energy to make shows, right? Because you want to be entertained by happy people.
So, okay, maybe the reason that I should care about other people's well-being is because I want to watch good shows on Netflix. But a lot of people look at this and say that's incomplete. It may be true that other people living good lives is good for me, but that's not why I care about their well-being. Okay. It's not all self-interested.
Exactly.
I feel like I should care about other people because that's the right thing to do, not because it's all about me. And one way of demonstrating that is with a problem like this. If we can just stipulate that this is an isolated incident, it's not going to have any further effects on society or anything like that. No one's going to know about it. You just either kill someone and then forget, or don't kill them and live with the guilt. What should you do? I don't understand how someone like Sam Harris, or with Sam Harris's worldview, could possibly say that the right thing to do is to not kill them and live with the guilt. Now, of course, I think if I asked Sam about this, he would probably say that killing the person is wrong. I just don't know how he would justify it. Maybe he would talk about the societal effects. Maybe he'd talk about Netflix. I'm not sure. But I really think that in this isolated scenario, if all the conditions are met, a worldview like his commits you to the view that the right thing to do is to kill the person. So maybe if you think that you shouldn't kill the person, despite the psychological harm it's going to bring you, you've just learned something interesting about a point of disagreement between you and Sam Harris. Now, of course...
So I agree with him, not Sam Harris. Up to this point, me and Alex have made the exact same decisions, even though we got to them in completely different ways. I find that fascinating. Fascinating. Metatron stopping in before leaving for church. Today is the solemnity of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Thank you very much, Talis, and I hope you have a great time at church. Thank you for being here. Appreciate. Fascinating stuff. Higashi Martial Arts, thank you for the support. If this gets 10 likes, can you put the classical guitar intro on your next video? Missed that intro. Oh, you mean like the really old school music that I used to use? Like, what was it? Dun, 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 dun. You're talking about that one, right? Yeah, sure. I can. Fine. I can do it. You're a good supporter, man. I can do that. If I remember, though, if I forget, actually, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's video has a sponsor. It's already. I can't do it tomorrow, but I'll do it soon on a video. I'll put the old school intro if that's what you were talking about. I can promise you that. If I do forget, since I'm always live, kindly remind me. Thank you. Civis Awe. I've been studying Latin for a few months now, translating text on paper. Because of your videos, I've been really eager to learn. My native language is Portuguese. I've been very satisfactory. I love that. And if you're working on, as you say, Latin, but if you're working on classical Latin as a Portuguese speaker, you still have some conservative elements of your native-like pronunciation that you will find still in Latin. For instance, as you probably know, if a word finishes with an M, then the M is nasalized. Whereas as a modern Italian, I actually had to unlearn that, because I would read imperium. I'm exaggerating it, but it's imperium. It's like a nasalized sound, and I think people who speak Portuguese have that naturally. So fantastic. Yeah, that was the one. Okay, no problem, Higashi Martial Art. I'll do it. I post every day, 30 videos a month, 20 streams a month. That's 50 uploads. So yeah, I've got a lot of space to do that. Yeah, it's classical. Fantastic. Well, all the best of luck to you for that. Let's continue.
Of course, I'm not Sam Harris. I might have misrepresented his views by mistake. He's also not an ethicist primarily, and there are all kinds of ethical worldviews that don't rely on assumptions like this. But I just wanted to point out that if you think that this is an obvious ethical dilemma, which many of you will do, the obviousness that you feel might help you to work out why it is that you agree or disagree with a variety of meta-ethical theories. Like, some people will look at this and say, honestly, mate, I don't really understand this should and shouldn't language. I don't think that makes much sense. The only thing that exists is what I do and what I don't do, as a matter of fact. And in this case, I don't want to live with that, and I just would kill the person. That kind of person might sound really callous, but they're also being really honest and might give us an interesting insight into the psychology of people whose ethical worldview is either non-existent or essentially egoistic. And if we think there's something wrong in what they're saying, if we're not willing to just go, fair enough, man, yeah, you do your thing and I'll do mine, if we want to say, no, that's the wrong decision to make, we've now got a challenge ahead of us, which is to justify why they're wrong. You might say, I
would think they're wrong. Their choice is wrong. Yeah. And then Ms. says the dilemma is no correct answer. It's a Socrates type thing. I do think there is a correct answer. It's just that, as he's explaining, it becomes subjective. Like, I can say that with religion, then you go into absolute ethics, so absolute morality, because religious people believe in we believe in absolute morality. But if I want to be to kind of discuss at a similar level, in order to, then I would have to justify it. He's absolutely right. And if we want to remove for a moment, because otherwise that's the end of it. Like, if we want to talk about why do you think it's wrong, well, because God says so. If I say that, it kind of ends the discussion. It is what I believe, but it would end the discussion. So I would be happy to put that on pause, just to address a more interesting, perhaps, explanation as to why I think that would be morally, that there is an actual absolute wrong and absolute right in this scenario. Fascinating.
To them, but you're taking an innocent life. And they say, so what? I don't care. And that doesn't...
Well, okay, someone says that. I won't interrupt it, but if someone says that, probably sociopaths.
Doesn't shake your belief that it's wrong to take an innocent life, but it makes you realize that not everybody thinks that's obvious, and if you actually try to justify it, it's a bit harder than you might have thought. Like, why should somebody care if they just don't? Well, because it's just the decent thing to do. Yeah, but what does that mean for somebody who doesn't have the same idea of decency as you do? Like, what is the actual basis for your view that there are certain things that are right and certain things that are wrong, regardless of how you feel about it? And really, that's what all of these problems are about. Philosophical thought experiments get a lot of flack for being a bit silly and convoluted. It's like, this is never going to happen in reality, so why should I care? But the point of these thought experiments is not to prepare us for the off chance that we might one day come across a real-life trolley problem someday. Of course not. The reason that we use these examples is to try to work out what ethical principles we're living by.
Fair.
What are our ethical assumptions? Why do we think certain things are right and wrong? What do we think is right and wrong? And are we justified in those beliefs? So in some sense, these problems are not really problems at all, in that they're not supposed to be solved. You're not supposed to work out what the right answer is. Instead, you're supposed to just see what you happen to think the right answer is and learn something interesting about yourself. And I want to learn lots of interesting things about all of you. So do let me know what you think about these trolley problems in the comments.
I just did it, but not in the comments. Thank you very much, Alex O'Connor, for sharing a fascinating... Man, that was 20 minutes. Well, of course, for us, it was... How long did it take? An hour and 42, because we've taken time to kind of discuss. But I have to say, I really liked the video. I don't know about you guys, but I thought this was fascinating. And what I kind of expected this, because I know, to me, Alex O'Connor seems to be a very decent individual, and I think there are a lot of aspects of morality that overlap, but I didn't know if there was going to be any section of this where the fact that we go at morality and ethics from such a diametrically opposite positioning, then I didn't know if there would be a situation where I was like, no, that's the right thing to do, pull the lever, and he'd be like, no, don't pull the lever. That would have been something that I kind of expected to happen at least once. It never did. It never did. So here's my position, and then move chat in front of the screen, we talk. But here's how I personally justify that. Do I think, in my worldview, I think, of course, that morality comes from God. With that being said, I do not believe that atheists cannot be moral without a belief in God. I don't believe that. I know that there are people that do, and I disagree with them within my side of the Christian side. And the reason for that is, once again, this innate conscience that we have. Unfortunately, not everyone has it. There are the sociopaths, but they're usually the exception to the rule, at least when it comes to percentages within any population cluster. And so when it comes to the general public, and in this case, me and him, we both have this conscience. We both feel, oh no, that's the wrong thing to do. I don't want to make someone else suffer. And even though the way I justify that, I think we are equally moral. I don't think that I'm more moral than him because I believe that my morality comes from God and he doesn't. I don't. In fact, for all I know, I don't know him, but maybe if we were to be so transparent on everything, maybe he's more moral than me. That's possible. But what I want to say here is that I still believe, in my worldview, that his morality, even though he doesn't believe that it comes from God, I think that that conscience still comes from God. And it's in fact one of the ways in which we resemble our parent, heavenly parent, because he's the maker. So just like an earthly child looks like his parents, we look like him every time that there is something good about us, because he is the perfect good, is the infinite good. And so that's something that we inherited as his children, because we are divine in a way. And so to me, he can be moral, even though he doesn't believe it, because the fact that he believes or not doesn't change, from my point of view. Some of you don't believe that, but I'm just sharing my point of view. I think he can absolutely be moral because of the fact that he has got this scintillam Dei. He's got this aspect of him that he, as a child of God, inherited. And that's the way I justify it within my belief system. But now it's your turn. What do you guys think? Let's see what we've got. Yeah, of course, morality has been observed in animals. Totally. I don't know why you wrote it in all caps. But yes, I agree. That works. Hey, that works. Good to have you here. How is the forging going? Thoughts on Tim Pool? I don't remember who Tim Pool is, so I'm gonna have to pull him up a little bit. Who is Tim Pool? Who is Tim Pool? Oh, Tim Pool, the political streamer. Yeah. I'm aware of him. So I don't watch him much. The last time I watched him was when he spoke about Jordan Peterson, because as you know, I made my own reaction to Jordan Peterson, and I'm gonna talk about Jordan Peterson tonight. So as we continue this, we will continue reacting to Jordan Peterson. But before I did that react, I wanted to see what people thought. And so I pulled up a few videos, and his video on Jordan Peterson is one of the videos that I watched among many other videos. And when it comes to that video, I think it was making sense and I liked how he was explaining it. But there was one time when I've seen him having a confrontation with another creator that I watch. His name is Palumbo. What's his name? Something Palumbo. Do you guys know? Anyways, and I didn't like how he treated him. So at this moment, I've got one positive and one negative when it comes to Tim Pool, but I have not looked at his politics deeply, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if it's one of those situations where I'm like, oh yeah, I agree, I don't know, 60%, 40% disagree. If it's one of those situations where he's a bit too far on one side for me, or if it's one of those situations when I'm like, yeah, no, I agree with this guy. I don't know at this point, but thank you for asking the question. It might be that at one point we will talk about him, but as of now, that's the answer I can give. That's the answer I can give. Thank you. So let me move back. Here we are. Okay. Let's see what you guys think. He wears a winter hat more often than the kids from South Park, says Joshua. I think you're right. I've never seen him. Does he have hair? I've never seen him without the woolen hat. Every time I've seen him, I've never seen him without that. But then again, I've got a helmet right here, so I'm not gonna complain about what people like to wear on their heads. I like to wear an armet from the 15th century on my head. So there is that. I think between the two, I'm the odd one at that point. Tenemos T says, religious people are often hypocrites and thus show it's not about being more moral. I disagree. I think human beings are often hypocrites. I don't think there is one situation where, well, atheists are all, and no atheist is ever hypocritical, but Christians are hypocritical, for instance, or religious. I think that's a wrong way to take a group and kind of add a classifier onto a group. It depends. It varies so much. It's like saying, I don't know, I don't even know, Italians do this. Well, yeah, Italians like pizza, I guess. But then again, in this scenario, I wouldn't say. Thank you, Nova. Say beautiful explanation. Thank you very much. But in general, I think it was a good video. We had a good video today, 100%. Let me see. Joshua presents some verses from the Bible where we have situations where, of course, there are, particularly in the ancient, Old Testament, in Italian, Antico Testamento, so I think in Italian. In the Old Testament, there are plenty of scenarios where we can bring up the verses and discuss whether or not what's happening is moral or just or justified. But in order to do that, we have to read it in the original language. If you want to do that, if you want to discuss, here's the thing about Scripture, and I say that as someone who's read the entirety of the Bible. I'm not one of those Christians who's like, Bible, 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 and never read it. No. I read the whole thing in Italian, the whole thing in English. In Italian, I read the Edizioni Paoline. In English, I read the King James Version. And then I've been going through the entire text in Hebrew, which is something that I started and in Greek for the New Testament. It's something that I started at university, but then I stopped, and then I started again about 2 years ago, and I'm still going through it because I'm very slow at reading Hebrew. But anyways, I'm going through it. If you want to go, when it comes to Scripture, in my opinion, the elements that are necessary from our point of view for salvation are easy to understand. You can read them in any translation, it doesn't matter, and anyone can understand them. Even the lowest IQ on planet Earth will be able to understand what he needs to do for salvation and how to achieve it. With that being said, when you do textual analysis, exegesis, hermeneutics, and you actually go into a deep cultural textual analysis, then the book, just like any other book, from whether it be the Akkadian tradition, whether it be a Sumerian text, it becomes extremely complex, very detailed. And if you want to discuss specific words, you gotta go into the linguistic aspect of it, and I'm happy to do it. I've done it a few times, but maybe on a different stream, and if it's not during a stream, I might make a dedicated video. So I'm not one of those who tells you, oh no, I don't want to read that. I'm happy to read any verse from Scripture and discuss it. With that being said, you will have to be open to the possibility of me opening up a text in front of you and go into interlinear. Because then we need to go into word by word. Because otherwise, I don't know which version you're reading, but there are like so many different versions that with different words that at the end of the day, then we need to go. If the word bothers you, well, but they're saying this, they're doing this, and then you take a word. Well, then let's see if the word is present in the original language at that point, if the detail of the words, and all these details are fascinating. I'm someone who loves spending time to study ancient texts, not just the Bible, ancient texts in their original languages, but it is unnecessary if you do it from a doctrinal standpoint. If you're a Christian and you can't do that, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But the linguistic stuff, ooh, I love that stuff. But that's what you need. Because if you take something, Andri, I don't appreciate your aggressive comment when it comes to religion. So I'm giving you, if you're here just to insult, you will be blocked. Just so you know. Because I've been very respectful towards atheists. I think the entirety of the stream, if you're an atheist, you couldn't feel more respected than the respect and welcoming attitude that I've given. But if you're here to insult, you will be blocked. Just so you know. And let's see. Oh, I don't know about the allegations, Jack, so I won't really comment on it. When you talk about Tim Pool, I haven't got a clue. No idea. Today was some amazing content to react to. Yeah, Devil Ray, I love the work by Alex O'Connor. I really like the way he makes his content. Really like it. Exactly, I agree, Daniela, totally, yeah. Appreciate that. And there is a super chat. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So let me just put myself over here. Okay. And there we go. Splendid. So David, thank you for the support. The Book of Enoch fascinates me lately. Tell me about it. Look at my channel name. Tell me about it, man. Totally. Yeah, sure. I'm a channel for commenting stuff. Good to have you back, by the way. Psychology affirms that everyone will always be hypocritical on varying subjects and situations. Yeah, I guess. Sure. It's a bit like bias, right? We all have a certain level of bias, but I think once you at least take the first step and recognize that you do have some bias, then you can work to maybe not completely remove it, but reduce it. It is better to have 20% bias towards a subject than to have 60 or 70% bias. I think it's beneficial. And then that's also one of the reasons why I work with a team, because then we help. Sometimes I will fail and I think, no, I think I'm reading it correctly. And then someone says, no, I think you're putting in your own cultural expectation into it, which is one of the main problems when we address ancient ancient texts. You have to put yourself in the position of the people speaking, which is really difficult and requires an overall understanding of the cultural dynamics, of the history of the situation, of the economic situation. There are a lot of things that you need to discuss in order to do that. And sometimes having someone in the team that can kind of check that is one further way to try and diminish bias, but being completely bias-free, impossible. That work says forging is going well. Currently working on a Woods small sword as my main presentation piece for Blade Show. That's lovely. I wish you all the best of luck. That works when it comes to that. It's fantastic. Yeah, no one knows it's glued to his head, or you were talking about the beanie. Is it a beanie? I think I would call it a beanie at that point. Let me see. Yeah, I always respected the skills of debaters, Devil Ray. Maybe one day I will invite guests and we can begin with conversations. And then if I see that I do well in conversations that aren't scripted. I mean, at the end of the day, today nothing is scripted, but I'm just saying it's different from speaking to a camera or like pausing and speaking than to actually have a debater as an intellectual opponent. It's something that needs to be studied. I think some people sometimes think, oh no, I know the facts. So if I were to debate, I would destroy him because I would present all the facts. But debates are not just about the facts. If you're prepared and know the facts, good. But it's just one brick within the wall you need to be able to build, hypothetically, as an analogy, to be able to face someone who does this constantly and they're trained and know how to do that kind of stuff. So that's It's something that I would study towards. So I will begin with informal conversations on this channel, and then or other channels if they invite me. But at one point, if I see that I'm enjoying it and I'm doing well, then I might actually start to double down and have some actual debates. But I kind of want to build towards it and study the techniques and understand how it works and see how to recognize the logical fallacies. Already with the logical fallacies, I do study them when I do my debunking videos, because oftentimes you have to call out the logical fallacies. But once again, one thing is to pause and take time, and the other thing is to be able to spot the logical fallacies and counter it and regain dominance and control of the conversation. That takes, skill. Absolutely takes skill. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Sorry, hit the end of the... yeah, no problem. I see you're discussing between yourselves. That's wonderful. That's good. I would always insist to try and keep it civil if possible, but I do understand that today's topic is a little controversial. Metatron, I'm sorry, but my favorite Metatron is from the movie Dogma. You should be sorry. Repent. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. And P4 says, yeah, I'm an atheist, respectable and reasonable positions as always from Meta Nerd. Appreciate that, and I also proudly claim the title of nerd. I'm absolutely a nerd. Proud of it. So there's that. So there is that. Let's see. Kristen says, that reminds me, I don't personally have a Reddit account, but I've seen some nastiness on the Atheist forum. Yeah, there is nastiness everywhere, to be honest. Reddit, as far as I'm concerned, the only good that comes from Reddit is when you have a technical question, particularly concerning, for instance, IT. If I want to know how to connect my mouse for an Amiga 500, and then, but if I do this other thing, they're great, fantastic. Or maybe your questions about painting, because I do miniature painting Warhammer, so sometimes I go to a subreddit about that, and that's about it. But there are so many subreddits that are so toxic that to me Reddit is a swampland. But there are exceptions, okay? So it's a swampland, but there are exceptions. The marshes of Reddit sometimes are difficult to navigate, but luckily there are some subreddits that are actually nice where people just share their expertise. I do use Ask Historian sometimes to check some things and see how they're doing there. I've seen some good information, and then but I'm not a huge fan of Reddit though. A community of bacteria. Yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah. Yeah, we got some spammers in chat. Please don't spam. I hate having to hide people from the channel, but guys, don't make me do it. That's where we are. And yes. So let me do just one check to make sure the connection is doing well. Yes, it's looking good. Okay, so I'm going to take a mini break of 60 seconds. I'll be right back. I'll leave you with the chair, and I'll go get myself a new drink. And I'll be right back, and we continue with the conversation. And also, we're going to transition to the section with Jordan Peterson. So if you were interested in that, well, that's going to happen soon. But in the meantime, have a good time with the chair. Ask the chair, talk with the chair about whether we have if the chair has freedom or not to choose to be my chair. Be right back. Share stream. Share stream. Here is the share stream. Man, the chat had so many great things to show us. That's fantastic. Chat, in fact, is one of the best friends you ever likely to get in your entire life. So it's Explory. It's a good point. Hi, Meta Chair. Hi, says St. Nicholas on Twitch. We are oppressing a dear Chair. Yeah, I know. It's terrible, terrible. Chair sang for us Believe. Ooh, I'm sure it did really well. It was a wonderful song, hopefully. Share your wisdom, fair Chair. You shouldn't pull the lever. That would be better. You said, I see Visible has that idea. I still can agree with Alex on that. But thank you for sharing. Because again, it's a matter of you're not actually saving the people. If you stop pulling the lever, to me, it feels like you only care about yourself at that point. I'm not saying you. I'm saying hypothetically. So that's why I would. Man, Jordan Peterson, never seen a guy using this many words without saying anything. Well, define words. Define words. That's what I'm going to tell you. Define many. Define YouTube. Do you like YouTube? Define YouTube. Because are you trying to say, when you say YouTube, are you trying to say that the corporate reality within the lithosphere or the substrata of our continental internal cultural solipsism within the representation of the core issues of the religious doctrinally acknowledging situation of juxtaposition of... Yeah. Thank you, random person. Thank you, random person. Thank you very much for sending a Metatron membership. We are, in fact, about to now switch to a section where we're going to have chat with members. It's going to be a bit shorter than usual, so members, I hope you appreciate that, because I do want to do the Jordan Peterson section, and we'll have to... it's a little bit different than usual, but tomorrow is entirely dedicated to members. But we're going to switch to a short section for members, and we're going to put, of course, all of members' chats on screen, and we'll discuss a little bit. And in the meantime, I might be opening some stuff that I've got on my side, and I've got something here to open it that I don't know if I can show. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that, and thank you for your support. But if you're not a member of the channel, do consider becoming a member, because not only you get usually 30 minutes of chat just for you, you also get an entire stream dedicated to members on Fridays. We begin as an open stream, so everyone comes in. Then we have a big section for members. Occasionally we open. That's how it works. But the Friday one is like that. You also get access to polls where you help me vote and choose for the kind of special, we'll do that very soon, special dedicated member videos for the channel. So you also have kind of a active part when it comes to choosing the sort of videos that I make for you, and then whenever I can, I post videos dedicated to members, and there will be some soon. So once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has become a member today and on all other occasions. And we're going to switch to the chat from members now, so it will be your time to shine. Those who are on Twitch, I still read your chat. I'll just give a little priority to the members, but I still read your chat. And if you are a little patient, something special is going to happen on your side as well. So please do stay, because something special is about to happen in a little bit, about maybe 15 minutes or so. And with that being said, we now begin our game, which is, let's see who's going to be the last person to be able to put a chat message before I actually click switch. So let's see. But as I say, it's going to be shorter than usual. Going to be like maybe 15 minutes or so. We go into members in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hey Melanie, I just saw you there. Hello Melanie, how you doing? Oh gosh, that was so funny. Someone tried to put free will. You guys crack me up. Someone tried to put free will in there. You almost made it, but the winner is Scream Bug, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much for the Stop Kellen for your first message as a member. My dear members, the time is yours. Whatever you want to say, any questions you have or any topic of discussion, we're going to review a few things together. And I got something to show you. That's why I pulled up X, among other things. But feel free to do it. The time is yours. And one thing I want to say also.
Welcome to the inner circle.
Welcome, dear members. What have we got? Glory to Pompey. Someone said glory to Pompey. Whenever that happens, first time, we raise our hands. Glory to Pompey. Glory to Pompey, ladies and gentlemen. Always glory to Pompey. Hey, Nicholas, good to see you here. Trint Trooper. Froggy Style, good to see you. Channel for commenting stuff. The frog is always appreciated on this channel. We always appreciate frogs on this channel. We believe in frogs, and we think the frogs are great. With that being said, how you guys doing? How are members doing? Someone just gifted me with a membership. Much appreciated. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear, David. And that actually does happen during these sections. We've had situations where someone gifted 75. It happened the other day. 75 memberships gifted in one session. It was like mind-blowing. And when that happens, if you are, of course, the memberships are distributed randomly among the people watching. So if you're watching now and you're not a member, you might become one. Because people are great. You guys are amazing when it comes to that. And thank you very much. What's up for subscribing with Prime on Twitch. I appreciate lots of gaming and some very interesting commentary videos coming up on Twitch as well. So I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Muppet with a frog mouth. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You meant to type something else. Don't worry, Kellen. Not a problem. Not a problem. I understand people like when it's like the end almost. Yeah. So let's see. Being an Italian, a pasta supremacist, and a Christian, what are your thoughts of the pastafarians and the flying spaghetti monster? Blasphemy? More one way than the other, I guess. I mean, as a philosophical discussion, the spaghetti monster, I don't know why it became, where did that come from? Like, I've heard so many people, yeah, we're going to game later, probably tonight, but we'll game, yeah, Shinigami. But yeah, no, as I was saying, I haven't got a clue. Why spaghetti? Why spaghetti? I wonder why, because it was a spaghetti monster. What's monster about a spaghetti? Spaghetti, great. Shouldn't be a monster. My favorite Roman legion, I don't know if I have a favorite Roman legion. That's a good question, Palatinus. I'll have to think about it and see if I can come up with one specifically. Actually, no, I do know. There is a legion called, I don't know if it's called Sicula or Siciliana, the 20th legion that was raised in Sicily. It doesn't have a lot of action, but I just like the fact that they raised this legion in Sicily. For obvious reasons, and that's what we named my little reenactment, ancient Roman reenactment group when I was back home in Sicily. We called it Legio 20th, the 20th Legio of 20th Siciliana, if you want to say it that way. What's a colander for a passport photo? Man, you should see the passport. My passport photo. So it's funny because my ID, because in Italy we have the actual ID card. It's like it's paper. You open it. It basically it's like a document that all Italians have. My ID card, I look like Jesus on that ID card. It looks like, I don't know why. It must be like the lighting as well, but it really looks like an apparition. It's so there's that, or maybe like a mystical whatever. But people always tell me that whenever I show that to an official, they open it was like, what's that, Jesus? Every time. But not really on camera, but on that picture specifically, it looks like I don't know. I slipped a little Catholic saint thing like in there, like a little Catholic imagery, but no, it's the picture. What's funny with my passport picture is that I don't remember if it's still that one, but the passport picture, the one before 100%, I took it in Japan during my emo period when I was a lot younger. So I'm unrecognizable. No beard, relatively younger, short hair, asymmetrical cut. It's kind of funny. It is really funny. Andrew said you should have auditioned for The Chosen. The problem is, I think my hair is beyond that. Like, I think Jesus' length, usually in our comedy, we can discuss about the most probable historically, but in general, in people's minds, usually Jesus' hair, it is long, but it's shoulder length. Mine is like heavy metal at this point. It's beyond it. So probably they would need me to cut it in order to be able to, or they would have to give me like fake hair. I would have to pull it up and then they would have to give me a wig. It's too long for Jesus at this point. Yeah, Emotron. Yeah, I did have an emo period. Emo period. A colander is the the strainer. Yeah, I would call it a pasta strainer. Yeah, bowl for hot foods like spaghetti. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I see. I get it. I understand. Yeah, we've got it. Of course, obviously, we make a lot of pasta in this house. And let me tell you this much: I make a killer pasta sauce in this house. I make a killer pasta sauce. Killer. You should have seen my very American in-laws, and they're very American, so like they like American food, that's it. But and Mexican food, my father-in-law eats Mexican food too, but in general they're very like America. But when I gave him the dish with my pasta with ragu buonissimo, yeah, he appreciated that. I converted him. It was a convert immediately. Thank you, Jean. Sorry, I forgot to put that back. Do you think that pulling the lever serves as possible divine justification for the flood of Noah, Sodom and Gomorrah, or the fate the Canaanites taking the one for the many? Maybe. I mean, it's a good way to interpret it. I do have a dedicated video to Sodom and Gomorrah and my position on it, because I think it's more complicated than what it's usually presented to be. Because usually there are, and I've examined it, and usually you have two sides on that discussion. There will be people that say, they got destroyed because they were gay, and then there are people that say, they were destroyed because they didn't like immigrants. Like literally people, and of course now they're simplifying it to a point where it's not only unrecognizable because the sexual depravity was a matter of violence as well as other aspects of it. There is a lot of things, and I'm not going to deny that one of the things mentions appears to be homosexuality as well. I'm not going to deny it in the text, but to just reduce it as they were gay and they got nuked is ridiculous. But the other thing is also the people that say, no, it's because they didn't like illegal immigrants, and so you should let everyone in. That also is, you're doing propaganda at that point. The reality is that even though there is a lot when it comes to the moral aspect of it, it's really complicated. Like Sodom and Gomorrah were abhorrent. Like if we had a chance, not even one, like that's the thing. So apart from the family of the prophet, so if we were to look at really everything that was going on, to make it make sense, you would have to imagine the most toxic, disgusting, hateful, terrible, evil, narcissistic, like the worst that you can imagine. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. But you shouldn't fixate on one thing or the other. But one of the main components that you only see if you inspect the original text and you do some textual analysis, in fact, with parallelism with other texts of the same period but from other sources like the Akkadian, you will notice that there is something to do specifically with an alliance and a change of alliance and the consequences of that, in the sense that there is a military alliance in there, it's in the text, and this military alliance also includes God, believe it or not. I know it sounds strange, but it's part of it. And personally, I think at least it's a multitude of things, but the one final straw that broke the camel's back is the change in alliance. And once the change in alliance was done, then the city was scheduled for annihilation. That's the way. So it's a deep analysis. It's a very deep topic, and it's definitely been simplified for culture war reasons. But as I say, I already have a dedicated video for the flood. I'm producing one. But thank you. Daniel, I would love to see a ragu by Raf video, man. I would love to. I love making these meme videos. It's just that, for instance, I did the pasta tia video, which I thought was really funny. It's funny, but unfortunately, it's got like 9,000 views. Like the algorithm consistently and systematically punishes me every time I'm not like 100% strategic in the title, the thumbnail, and this and that, and the meta analysis of all the. If I don't do that, and I'm like, you know what, I just want to have fun. Let's just make a cook with Metatron video. I know it will be completely invisible from not only the algorithm, but even every single one of you. It's not even a matter of, I want it to be a recruiting video that other people from outside the community. No, I just want to laugh with the subscribers. I know they're going to like it. You're not going to get the notification. So it's annoying, but we might have to make it as a members video. We'll vote it. I'll put a few ideas. I'll add the cooking with Metatron video. Man, I'm going to make it gold comedy. I'm telling you that much. I'm telling you that much. And then if you guys like it, we could do it as a one of the members video, kind of lighthearted, and it would be so fun. I know it would be so fun. Cooking channel, when, man, I'm already spread so much with all the channels I have. Maybe one day it would be fun. Also because it would be basically a cooking, and it would be like a cooking and comedy video, because that's just how it's gonna be. I'm gonna explode. Like we're gonna have my wife find, let's say, since we live in America, we're gonna find my wife finding American interpretations of traditional Italian dishes, and I'm gonna explode, and it's gonna be real. It's not even gonna be manufactured comedy. It's gonna be real, and it's gonna be great. Posca and pasta, that would be great, man. Very, very Roman, in fact, with the addition of Posca. Q Bandon says, cooking with Max. Well, if I did a collaboration video with Max Miller, it wouldn't be a situation where we both cook, because then I would be the difficulty level for him. You know, when you choose, you play Street Fighter and you can make everything harder for you and easier for the opponent, I would be a detriment. Like, it would be like, can Max Miller still manage to cook his amazing cuisine even if Metatron enters the fray? Like, it would be, because I'm very good at cooking pasta and my Italian things, because I'm an Italian person, and so every Italian mother teaches their kids to cook, female or male, irrelevant. I was there with my mom. She was like, okay, now put the olive oil, let it get warm but not too much, now add the thinly diced onion, but don't put too much, put that one there, then wait for it to get a little bit golden, but don't burn it, now add the sauce. Like, we have all gone through that. Okay, all Italians have gone through that. And so yeah, we can do that, because it's part of our culture, really. It's what we do. It's what we do. Yeah. I check your channels each day, so I'm in. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Pasta is great. I agree. I absolutely agree. I've been asking for a few streams the same question. What question was it, channel? Divello is an Italian brand that exports almost everywhere. Spaghetti Ristoranti is a special type of spaghetti. Yeah, here, I like Gragnano. That's my favorite pasta brand. But I like Barilla. I like, pretty much, it's difficult for me not to like pasta, okay? Regardless of the brand. It's very difficult. It's a matter of which one I like the most. But I like all of them. All of them. All pasta is pasta. All pasta is made equal. Well, no. But all pasta is great. I can't cook by book. It's all by eye. I'd say it would be the same, like for my mom and plenty of other. Yeah, usually I totally understand that. Yeah, a lot of it is by eye when you don't do it in a professional context. When it's in a professional context, oftentimes everything is perfectly organized. Although again, I guess it depends on the chef. And then again, with experience, I think basically you are a machine at that point. Like with and I put Italian grandmas in there, not just like the professional chef with 5 million followers on TikTok. I'm talking about an Italian grandma. When they get that amount of salt, when they get that pinch, when they get that amount of olive oil, they know it's yeah, very precise. In fact, do you add ground beef to your pasta sauce? It depends on the recipe. It depends. When it comes to, yeah, proprio nonna, exactly, Daniel. When it comes to like a bolognese, you usually do mix like pork and beef. You kind of mix it, usually. But yeah, so depending on what I'm making, yes. What I don't add is chicken, like they did on that video, and I exploded, and I got a yellow dollar sign, by the way, on that video, because I was so mad that I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I got a yellow dollar sign. I'm like, can they not understand comedy? It's funny. Oh no, it's not suitable for most advertisers because, oh come on, give me a break. They couldn't resist. They couldn't. I mean, I'll give you that. There was one lady that added the chicken and then ketchup to the bolognese and call it the bolognese and anchovies. And then at that point, when she's like, and also I love using spaghetti for my bolognese, which is like spaghetti don't belong. I understand that at least traditionally, some people do use it, but whatever. When she mentioned spaghetti, because of all the accumulation of all the other nonsense, then I said, well, you take those spaghetti and use them to hang yourself. I did say that, okay? I admit that I said that, but it was funny. I didn't actually mean it, and I thought that was obvious. Comedy's gone. Yellow dollar sign. Asked for manual review. Double down. Confirmed. Not gonna make money out of that video. No money. Not for me. No money for the Angry Italian. No. Even though I'm defending my culture. No. Fine. Fine. I will love you for it. Yeah, I know. I said that in spaghetti perfect. Long. You could do this. And then this. It was a joke. For crying out loud. People can't even joke these days. Oh my gosh. What can I tell you? I always start David. I just said David. I just turned you to Michelangelo's statue. David. I always start with onion, garlic, and fresh ginger. I wouldn't put the ginger there. When it comes to onion and garlic, sure, cool. Usually you do one or the other, but then again, I guess depending on the sauce, why not? What's your opinion about alfagetti? I haven't got a clue what that is. Wonder bucket? Wonder bucket? Yeah. Wonder bucket. What a name, my friend. Wonder bucket. In the meantime, I'm gonna mess around, by the way, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. I'm gonna mess around today, so I will, in a little bit. Don't you dare to make a joke or be sarcastic these days, literally. And the children see them in the kitchen by the spaghetti. Yeah, what's your opinion? Yeah, again, alphagetti, I don't know what that is. And what can you do? What can you do? But it's lovely that so many of you guys are knowledgeable about pasta.
Wow. Spasta.
You should have not. Whoever taught me to use these plugins, you have no idea what you have unleashed. You haven't got a clue what you have unleashed here. It's like, yeah. Let's go to the sea. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Apologize for that. This is gonna get out of control very soon, just so you know that. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Oh. Excuse. Uh-oh. Can someone remove the glass, please? Thank you. Appreciate that. I freaking love those plugins. I absolutely love the plugins. Where can I buy such an efficient dryer? What dryer? Canned pasta has way too much sauce. Well, yeah, no, but canned and pasta should never be together in the same sentence. It's as simple as that. You do that, and you can live a wonderful life, worthy of heaven. Just don't put canned and pasta in the same sentence. Thank you. Sometimes I see them with canned ravioli. Canned ravioli. What's wrong with you? What's your opinion on cooking with wine? Oh yeah, totally. Just maybe the only thing that I say sometimes I use it, sometimes my dad uses it. It's just that when you add wine, you have to be a little careful, because I would not add with Metatron cooking show. I would not add the wine to a tomato sauce that it's already a little on the acidic side, because then you risk to make it a bit too acidic. But if it's a tomato sauce that either is very sweet is still naturally, don't put the freaking sugar in it. Speaking to Americans, if it's already kind of on the sweet side, or it's been corrected, maybe you added something and it's good, then you want to add a little bit for flavor, absolutely. But yeah, I personally just use wine. I'm sure cooking wine is fine. I just put wine. I put a wine that I like and I put it in there. But then again, it's not like an expert. I'm still telling you though, I make good pasta here. Good pasta. Spaghetti in sauce. Oh my gosh, spaghetti in a can. Can you imagine? So like you open it, apart from the fact that it's a can, so you open it, you can forget whatever you're wearing, and that's the first problem with it. But then let's say that you open it, and then imagine all those spaghetti all in there. It must be like they probably are like getting dematerialized. It's probably so soft. Oh, I can't even imagine it. A little sugar cuts the acidity. Yeah, no, a little fine. Yeah, sure. In Sicily, we do it. In the rest of Italy, usually they don't put sugar in sauce. They will try to correct it with maybe even baking soda, something like that, which I also do from time to time. But I guess a little bit of sugar. In Sicily, we do it. But a little bit, not Starbucks levels. And once in Japan, I had this problem because Japanese, I love the way they cook. I love Japanese food. Ramen is great. But I remember once this Japanese elderly gentleman, good friend of mine he was from Hiroshima. And he invited me over. Elderly man with his wife invited me over for dinner. So I went there, and the moment I opened it, there are a lot of foods that I can eat in Japan, but there is one that I'm always a little bit struggling with. And when I opened the door to his house, and I'm like, sumimasen, ojamashimashou, which is what you say when you're entering, means I'm being an obstacle. I know it sounds weird, but that's what you say to be polite in Japan. So you're like, ojamashimashou, sumimasen. You enter the house, and I smell, and I'm like, ooh, he's making sukiyaki, is he? He's making sukiyaki. Given, it could have been worse, I'll tell you what it is. Could have been worse because I usually don't eat fish. So, yeah, if he made fish, it would have been worse for me. But sukiyaki is this soup, kind of a hot pot with vegetables and meat. But the amount of freaking sugar that they put in it is, yeah. So I guess it varies from person to person, but a lot of Japanese like it actually sweet, sukiyaki. So that's, yeah, I can smell the sweetness in the air. And then I sat down and it's like, do you like sukiyaki? What am I going to tell him? Of course. So this now. Great. So he brings sukiyaki. And I'm not saying that it wasn't good. I'm just saying that we taste it. He gives me a little taste and I taste it. I'm like, he's like, do you like it? I'm like, yeah, good. It was fine. It's not like I hate it. And then he's like, but does it need more sugar? And I'm telling him, no more sugar. It's good. But I think he thought I was being polite. So he it's not like that he added sugar. It's that he took a thing this big of sugar and he just put it upside down. At the end of that meal, he gave me cake. At the end of that meal, he gave me cake. So, no, sukiyaki is not for me, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Sukiyaki is not for me. But that's just me. Yeah, also carrots, sure. Red pepper, I can see how that works. Cool. You need to peel the white skin. I understand. Thank you, channel. Seems like you're into this kind of stuff. I appreciate that. Metatron. Yeah, man. I mean, I always try to be careful here in the US because I love your stuff, but I still have to be careful. So when we go get Starbucks, I always ask for a toll. You really have to figure out a way to explain to me why the shortest size is called tall, because it's beyond me. I don't get it. We can discuss philosophy. We can discuss ancient Akkadian. We can speak Japanese. I don't understand why that's called tall. Tall should be the big one. Venti should be tall. I get it that venti is the amount of ounces. I don't even get it. It's still tall. Objectively, it's the tallest. Where the heck is it? I got it over there, literally. Got it over there the other day. I got a white chocolate mocha. And it's a degree, by the way. It's a dessert. That's how I see it. Because if I look at it as a coffee, as an Italian, I'm like, it's not coffee. But if you tell me, well, no, I know, but it's a coffee-inspired dessert, then I enjoy it. I like it. It's very nice. And it's basically a frappe at that point. And I liked it. It was good. It's just that I got the tall, which was the shorter. And don't even get me started that you use not only, you call the middle size grande, but you're doing it specifically to upset me because it's in my language. Grande is Italian for big/large. And you use it for me. I need a break. I think I need a break with all of this, but maybe later we'll figure it out. You drink black coffee only? Well, yeah, sure, I can see that. There is also short, says Stupid Twitch. That's your name, I'm not insulting. Is there? Because I thought that tall was the smallest. At least that's what I was... Have I been lied to? Have I been lied to? I don't know. Yeah, black coffee, sometimes it depends, Jack. There are days that I'm into black coffee. I'm like, today... No, it's going to be black coffee. That's what I need. Maybe if I need to wake up. But there are other days where I like... I usually don't add sugar to my own coffee. I just add the macchiato, a little milk. I do that. So milk for me is what sweetens the coffee. I don't need to add sugar. Usually that's how I drink it in the morning. But if we go to Starbucks, I will get it. But it has to be the tall one. I hate saying tall. I hate it. But the tall one is the one that I get precisely because of the amount of sugar that you guys put in the other ones. Advertisement really ruined language. Yeah, it was. I know. At this point, it's just one of those things. There used to be 30 after 20. How big is it? An oxygen tank? Literally, it's going to be like this. Yeah. I mean, Sounds about right. I've seen people asking for extra sugar on their, yeah, I think some of you even told me in the chat. You're like, oh no, I ask for extra sugar when I get my venti at Starbucks. 30 ounces, my gosh, 30 ounces. How much caffeine is that? 30 ounces. I don't even want to know. Your favorite coffee is Turkish? That's fine. I heard that Turkish coffee is famous. Never tried it though. If I ever do end up going to Turkey, I'll absolutely try coffee first thing I do. If it ever happens. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but... You add fake sugar and a splash of fake milk. I see. Might as well use fake coffee at that point, my friend. At least it's consistent. Oh, you like putting bourbon in your coffee? Yeah, I mean, in Italy, some people do that. They call it caffè corretto, corrected coffee, and or like adjusted, fixed. And they do it usually with what? I don't actually know. Grappa, maybe? But yeah, anyways, some people do add alcohol to coffee. I don't do it. Personally, I don't like that kind of mix, but I get it. Some people do that in Italy too. You can ask for it at any cafe. Yeah, corrected. I know it's funny. It's like, that's coffee, but now it's being corrected. That's corretto. Caffè corretto. That's how, yeah. That's how they do it. No, I'll stick to the foam, the milk with the foam. You know, that's what I like. You know, affogato is great. Why used to love affogato? Affogato is great. Righteous coffee, yeah. Exactly. Still better than inventing another imperial unit to measure it. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see that, but still Grande pisses me off. It's like, you know what it feels like? Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But you know what it feels like when they give me a name like Toll and it's not Toll? You know what it feels like? It feels like I'm being manipulated into trying to convince me not to get the smallest one because they want to get a sale that is higher to get more money out of me. So they're like, which one do you want? Do you want the Tall? And I'm like, ooh, no, Tall, I don't feel like it because maybe I don't know. No, give me something medium, and then they give me the Grande. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it, but that's what I think it is. Because if you think about it, numerically speaking, statistically speaking, it might not work with me, but it might work at least at a statistical level, massive population. I am sure that there is probably something that they know with a computer, they calculated it, and I'm like, if we do this, people might end up not getting tall because they think it's tall. And in this way, by this misunderstanding alone, yeah, they should have called it piccolo. By this misunderstanding alone, we will get this margin into that. That's what I think. Call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. Call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. That's what I think. Yeah. It's a bit like they do something similar with Jersey Mike's, which is my favorite sub restaurant. It's great. I love ordering from Jersey Mike's. In fact, I might even order from Jersey Mike's tonight, man. Maybe after the stream, I could go for a cheesesteak. Regardless, you don't really need to know that, do you? So Jersey Mike's as well. The cheesesteak doesn't even allow you to. But imagine I go for a tuna sandwich. Then you can get the really mini. You can go for mini. Luckily, they maintained a reasonable language. Or you can go for regular, or then you can go for the bigger ones and whatnot. Thing is, though, that basically the price of the mini is higher than the price of the regular. Or if it's not higher, it's very close. Which basically is telling you you're wasting your money. You might as well just get the regular. I don't even know why we offer that option. It's all manipulation, isn't it? Should I go with ravioli or fettuccine for lunch? I'm going to say fettuccine, Daniel, but it depends on what you feel like. Yeah. I think pineapple has every right to be on pizza if tomato is allowed. No, I don't think so. No, pineapple is heresy. Pineapple on pizza is heresy. Pineapple on pizza is heresy. You know why? Because I know where you're going with that. You say, but tomato technically is a fruit. And other than that, that's what you're doing. I know that that's what you're doing. But, no. Sorry. Doesn't happen. Doesn't work with me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No pineapple on pizza. That's disgusting. No pineapple on pizza. We got some night vision in there just for you. We should allow the other. Absolutely not. Absolutely. You know what? Well, if you like that, before you present that line of argument, take every instance where you have anything with tomato and swap it with pineapple, and let's see if you're still going to have that idea. Make a lovely pineapple sauce for your pasta. Do that. Do it. Take the pineapple and swap it with. Let's see if the fact that they're both fruits is still going to work for you, you muppet. Yeah, do that. What about breakfast pizza? Absolutely, Mr. Wolf. You got some pizza left over from the day before? 100%. Plus, we've got a little, apart from the air fryer, we've also got a little mini oven that is really nice for, it's a Japanese oven. It was actually quite expensive. I'll give you, we spent like $300 for it. But anyways, it's really nice. It's in the kitchen, and the way it uses like vapor, steam, to warm it up, and it's really good. It kind of rehydrates it a little bit. It's excellent, but it still gives it a little crunch. Just don't put it in the freaking microwave, please, because I hate it. It takes away the crunch from the crust. So please just don't put it in the oven. Just turn on the oven. Don't be lazy. I'm talking about no. Wait. I'm talking to you. You. Exactly you. Yeah, you. Stop pointing at you. You with the t-shirt. Exactly you. Stop being lazy. You put it in the microwave, beep, 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 the annoying sound, just stop it. Air fryer, conventional oven, 2 minutes. Don't even need to go to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever. Do it a little, get it warm, put the pizza in it, warm it up a little bit. It's going to be great. Still going to have the crunch on the crust. Just, you know better. Be better. Pineapple ketchup, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, you have at it, Palatinos. Have your pineapple soup, please, with grilled cheese. Yeah. Put a little bar of chocolate in it while you're at it, will you? Just do that. Excellent. I think it's very good. Steamed pizza next day is my trick. Absolutely. Pizza tips with method pizza tips. How did we do that? Toaster oven, says Seymour Field. Pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much one of those. Yeah. Absolutely. The Romans would try it. Yeah, but the Romans also had garum, the decomposed, rotten fish sauce. So I don't think they are the greatest indicator. They're great. I love the Romans, but maybe they're not the greatest indicator as to how far they're willing to go when it comes to making a condiment or eating something. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to follow the example of someone who thought that decomposed dead fish sauce, liquamen, is good. Maybe not. That's the one thing I'm going to tell the Romans. Well, you have it. You have it. Have all the liquamen on the planet. What a word. Liquamen. You do that. I'm not going to have it. Thank you. Yeah, you have the garum and enjoy it. I hope you can bathe in it for like a bathe in garum. Do that. Fill the bathtub with garum. Maybe don't do it because I don't know if it's actually bad for you for the amount of salt. Maybe don't do it. Hypothetically speaking, though, have a shower with garum. It's gonna be great. UK and Japan has some weird condiments. Yes, but you know what's the funny thing, Sean? As someone who has spent years in language learning, is that out of the two, when it comes to condiments, for me, it's a lot easier to pronounce the ones in Japanese. Give me a Shropshire sauce. I can't do it. Give me any Japanese sauce, I'll pronounce it for you. So there is that. Thank you, channel members. I really appreciate this discussion that we had. Let me open the chat back again. As I said, I appreciate your patience today. It's a little shorter because something is going to happen now. And thank you so much for the support, by the way, to the channel. Always appreciated. Let me just open to anyone in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dead fish. Who's the winner? Who's the Muppet? Man, it's always Thunderwing. How'd you do it? Man, this guy's dedicated. How'd you do it? It's always you. And we got a fantastic semicolon with the addition of a apostrophe. GG, my friend. GG. Freedom for everyone. So good to have you back, guys. So good, and massive thanks, by the way, to the members for being patient and open-minded. Today I needed to keep it a little short, and you'll see why in a second. Hey, Melanie, I'm glad you stayed. Good to see you still here. Finalmente. Hey, Cheratron. Cheratron. With my chair. When did you do that? Oh, that's great. That looks great. That's a fantastic name, my friend. Appreciate that. Very cool. The Cheratron. Thunderwing winning every single time. I don't even know how you do it. I love eating jalapeno and kimchi with my pizza. Not on. Oh, with. Okay, I see. For a moment, I thought that so the pizza is off. I see, I get it. So you eat it as a side. Well, cool. Yeah, sure. Whatever. I'm not a fan of kimchi. I've had it a few times. It's good, but it's not something I would like to select. If you give it to me, I'll eat it, but I wouldn't just go out of my way to eat some kimchi. Korean, for those who don't know. It's like kind of a Korean cabbage that is spicy. Just to give you an idea, sort of. I mean, I probably didn't do a very good job at explaining it, but just to give you an idea, it's pretty good. It's not bad. And the other thing, jalapeno. Sure. Yeah. It's there. I order them. Sometimes when we order from, Papa John here in the US, we like ordering the jalapeno poppers. They are like little bites of pizza dough with cheese in it and the jalapeno bites. But usually I remove the jalapeno rather than bite it. Just keep it for the flavor, but I don't actually directly eat it. Same with my wife. She eats it the same way. In other words, our hands are a mess afterwards. But yeah, no, Papa John. Unfortunately, we didn't get Pope John. Almost. We almost had Papa John's Pizza Balla. We almost had him. We almost had Cardinal Pizza Balla becoming Papa John's Pizza. That would have been great if he had chosen the name John the Third. It would have been great. Papa John's Pizza would have been great. I was rooting for that. People were like asking me, well, which pope do you like because of this and that and politics and culture? I'm like, I don't care about all of that. I want Pizza Balla. You're joking. Pope Pizza? That would have been great. Hey, maybe next one. We'll see. Papa John is terrible pizza. Yeah, I hate Papa John's pizza. I just like the jalapeno poppers. My wife likes Papa John's pizza. What can I say? If it's me, the best place, at least, I haven't been to every state, okay? So I'm not going to speak about that mama and pop's pizza that you know specifically in your state. And maybe it's great, fantastic. But I'm saying in general, when you talk about chain pizza in America, which is not representative to all forms of pizza, but is part of it, and you take all the chains, Domino's, Papa John, Pizza Hut, whatever, there is a place that is superior. And it's Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's. You heard it here first. If you want pizza and you want quality, ditch all of them, go to Trader Joe's and get their frozen pizza. It has like a green carton, and then it's like a margherita. It's 10 times better. The frozen pizza, Trader Joe's. This is how good Trader Joe's is. Is Trader Joe's sponsoring this channel? I don't even know. It's just really that good. Really, let me see if I can find a picture of it, because you guys need to know. Particularly if you live in America and you're like, maybe I'll order a little Papa John's. No, wait. Trader Joe's frozen pizza margherita. Let me see if I can find an image, because you guys need to. I mean, of course we have it downstairs. I don't really want to go to the freezer, open it up from downstairs, bring it back up. Like, I don't really want to go through that. So let me see if I can find it, like a nice picture. If not, well, I'll just describe it and you'll have to use. Okay, so I think I found the brand. Found it. Haha. Found it. This one. So, Trader Joe's becomes Trader's Giotto, and then you've got this green labeling around, and this is amazing pizza. Amazing pizza. Very good. This is great. So, next time, if you know a Trader Joe's, you go there. You find the box with the green checker, whatever the heck it is, around from Trader Giotto. Guys, number one in the States up to this point, and I'm not talking about mama and pops that you go with your friend. I'm talking in general. This is fantastic. Phenomenal pizza. Phenomenal pizza. And you know me, I can be annoying. So for me to say this, There has to be truth behind this statement, my friends. Meta, what is your view on Chicago deep dish pizza? Is it really a pizza? It's intriguing. I've never tried it, though. I'll probably like it. Just to me, I prefer thin pizza, but I've never tried it. So probably as a pizza-inspired dish, yeah, I would probably like it. I imagine it's good. I think you really have to be hungry, though, by the looks of it. Height 52, thank you. Fast food pizza is like dating. If you want it hot and ready, you'll have to take a hit on quality, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, my friend. Jersey pizza. But yeah, guys, that is really good pizza. It's true. You can make pizza at home. Sid machinery. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, as I say, so Papa John's is good for the jalapeno poppers and that's it. But I do not like the crust is sweet. The sauce is sweet. The cheese is sweet. It's just not for me. Papa John's, at this point, I prefer, if I have to pick, I would put Pizza Hut first, Domino's second, Papa John third, if I had to choose. But honestly, Trader Joe's better than all of those. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now, thank you very much for your patience. What we're going to do now is that we're going to go and finish the Jordan Peterson section. The only thing is that in order to do that, I have to switch to Twitch because unfortunately, so I'm going to put a link and we're going to continue this stream directly on Twitch because unfortunately on YouTube, I'm not allowed and I get claimed every time I try to watch something like that. So I would really appreciate it. Some of you can come over and we can continue the stream on Twitch. It's already ongoing, of course, because I'm double streaming right now. But I'm going to, in order for me, here's the link. And we will do this also with Joe Rogan, by the way. So whenever I do a reaction to Joe Rogan, due to the fact that I actually get copy claimed, thank you, Indebted, for becoming a Guardian, a member. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, every time so for any other react, we'll do it on the channel as normally. But when it comes to Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Jubilee in general, and those channels that unfortunately trigger an automatic copy claim that blocks the stream on YouTube, we tried it, it blocks it all the time, but I do not get blocked on Twitch. That's what we're going to do. So when there are streams like this that I'm going to continue the stream, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to end the stream on YouTube in a little bit, in 2 minutes. I'll read the final super chats and members, welcome the members. But please do come and join us on Twitch as we're going to continue this stream, and we're going to review the rest of that Jordan Peterson. And I've been told that it's a refugee from YouTube here. Welcome, Beowulf. And I've been told that there are some really good speakers that I haven't got to. So I'm really curious to see what you think about, to kind of give commentary and all that kind of stuff. All the fake news channels are heavily on the copyright claims. I don't know if it's the fake news channels. I don't know if it has to do, I don't think it has to do with the quality of the news. It's just a matter of a large channel will have an automatic bot detection from a company that they pay. Even Oversimplified does this. It's just that Oversimplified put me on a whitelist. So now I can review Oversimplified live and it's not going to be a problem. But there are a lot of other channels, unfortunately, including Jubilee, that will block the video immediately and there is nothing I can do about it to prevent it. Actually, there is, and it's to move onto a separate platform, in this case, Twitch. So if any of you wishes to continue watching this, please come on Twitch. I see people subscribing with Prime. Thank you very much. Gabernacle, and of course on Twitch we play Heroes of Might and Magic, Civilization, KCD, Oblivion. It's fun for that too, but we will use it for all those commentary and reaction videos that there is no way that I can do here. So thank you very much, anyone who is moving. You can literally do a jump. Look, I can see, yeah, I can see Melanie right here. See you over on Twitch. She's gonna do a jump now. Just jump. Look at that. Boom, and she does the jump. And I already see a lot of viewers on Twitch, so it's fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. And by the way, by doing this, you're also helping me to get to partnership. So I appreciate that because it's going to change the dynamics over there. So thank you very much, Muppets, for doing that. Daniel says, Ragu with Raf, sponsored by Trader Joe's. Man, seriously, sponsored by Trader Joe's. That would be fantastic. That would absolutely be fantastic. So, Gonna put the link one more time for those who missed it. We're gonna switch over to Twitch right now. I already have this ready. Jordan Peterson, that's where we are at. That's where we left off 1 hour in. We got a good half an hour to go. And I gotta be careful because just clicking this is gonna block the stream if I'm not careful. So we're gonna close the other tabs. Thank you very much, Alex O'Connor, of course, for the video that he made that I enjoyed watching. Thank you, Trader Joe's. We're going to keep Trader Joe's here. And I'm closing the other tabs that I don't need right now. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're good to go. So I want to say thank you very much for YouTube, everyone else on YouTube. I hope to see you make the jump. And now we're going to go into the continuation. Let's see how it goes. Let's go. Just join the stream. Thank you, Lee. And you'll have to rewatch it or come to Twitch so you can tell me about Alex O'Connor and we can speak here. Almost 100 people on Twitch. That's fantastic. So guys, hope you switch to Twitch. I'm going to stop the live stream on YouTube for now. So anyone who can't or doesn't want to, it was good to have you here. And for those of you who are still part of all of this, guys, let's go for it. Let's go for the deep analysis. And thank you very much, everyone on YouTube. I'll see you, and we will continue on Twitch. Thank you very much. Let me put a full screen. And thank you for being here. All right. In 3, 2, 1, boom.